Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Droppin Baums with me, your host, Corey Baumeister. As always, with the lovely folks here at TCGplayer.com. And as a special guest today, I have a co-host with me today, the man Andreas Petersen, also known as Echo Baronin online. Andreas is a vintage specialist, okay? Really needed his set of skills to be able to teach me such a complex format. He is runner-up on the Vintage Super League here, has more challenge wins when it comes to Vintage than I have played challenges. So, Andreas, thank you so much for joining me, man.
I'm just happy to get the opportunity to, teach a renowned pro to play my favorite format. So I'm just, it's been a blast.
Well, you definitely did. We had some interesting games. You want to tell them about some of the matches they're going to look forward to?
What we have in store today is we have a matchup against a very controlling Stax deck, utilizing the card Mishra's Workshop to power out some gruesome artifacts. And after that, we played against two kind of pseudo-mirror matches, but just another color combination. And in the end, we were really on the edge of our seat because we had a trophy match. And yeah, let's just see if it was a paradoxical outcome or not.
Yeah, thank you so much. So if you want to stick around, we got those matches coming up. We also got the timestamp matches below us here if you want to fast forward to anything. And then me and Andreas are going to do a nice long deck tech. Basically the reasons why we chose Esper Paradoxical Outcome, why we chose to play Vintage in the first place, and really some more in-depth look at this insanely powerful deck that we're about to play. And as always, click the link below. We have a link to TCGplayer for a short write-up. And then courtesy of Andreas, we have a nice sideboard guide ready for you to go dominate these vintage leagues as much as we did. Let's get real. All right, stick around for the matches, everybody. All right, and we're here with the games. Andreas, I gotta say it, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm just, I think this will be a good mix-up of a good Magic player and a guy with some old cards. So
sounds like a perfect combo to me.
Yeah, me too.
And let's get real. You're no slouch here. You got some accomplishments under your belt.
Yeah, I've been playing this format for half of my life, so that's 15 years and counting. So yeah, I've just always enjoyed it. It was the first format I got into, and I'm still here, so it must be kind of good.
And I feel like they count every vintage challenge as a top 7 plus Andreas. Is that understanding correct?
Oh, that's not really the case, but I should have around 20 under my belt, I think.
and just for viewers' sake, the last vintage challenge, who was victorious in that one?
The one that was 2 days ago, that was not me, but the one from 9 days ago, that was me. I played a sweet blue-red young Pyromancer deck to the first place.
Spicy. Okay, so you just must have slept in last week.
I actually did play the event. I finished an unexciting 3-3, but I had great games. I think that's what vintage is. Even when you're losing, it's a great experience. That's all I can say.
Well, speaking of, let's get to the games because I am excited for this experience. So, my understanding here, we're on the draw. Our opponent has mulliganed to 6. And I would think we keep this, but it doesn't seem like the most powerful hand.
No, I mean, you don't have a fast, some fast proactive stuff to do yourself, and you can't stop your opponent. So you will have to lean on the Library of Alexandria to kind of get you going.
Okay. But yeah, on the draw, this is a perfect card. We get to play it, say go with 7 cards, and then draw during their end step.
Yeah, or you can, if we draw something like a Mox, it makes sense to draw right away because you can avoid discarding to hand size and kind of keep going. So depending on what we draw, but yeah, I like activating it on my opponent's turn if I risk going a cleanup.
Sure. Okay, perfect. Our opponent is deciding whether or not to keep on the 6 here.
Yeah, they kept. I was about to mention if he goes to 5, we had to be wary about him playing Dredge because they will mulligan any hand that does not contain a Bazaar of Baghdad. But it could be anything at this point.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that this is not Dredge.
For sure not. It's another dreaded deck of the format. Workshops.
Nice pun there. Nice pun.
Yeah. Yeah, they're basically trying to put. Okay, he's saying go with 5 mana.
Wow.
I have
That
no idea what that is about.
I'm no expert here, but I'm guessing that is not the ideal start for them.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared about what comes next, though. If he kept the hand and well, maybe he just has a bunch of wastelands. That
Yeah,
could be.
could be. I still think we lead on library, right?
Yeah, let's do that and draw right away since we got the
Since
Opal
we got the
as
Mox, yep.
insurance to go into cleanup.
Okay, and now just play the Mox and just say
Yep,
go then, huh?
yep, that's fine.
Perfect.
So we'll kind of force him to have the wasteland, otherwise we will just run away with the game.
Yeah, or at least slowly pick away with the Library of
Yeah.
Alexandria. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that card is very, very good when your opponent's not doing anything
Yeah.
super aggressive.
I feel like our entire deck is pretty good when our opponent's not doing anything, though, to be fair.
Yeah, that's usually the case in Vintage. If your opponent doesn't do anything to try and kill you and he doesn't try to stop you, then yeah, you're in a good spot.
Okay, so Andreas, walk us all through a little bit of what this shop decks is looking to do. Like, I've seen this from the only experience I've seen this deck is the SCG where they ran the Vintage tournament, and I did see it win, and I watched some games, but to be honest, I didn't really know what was going on. So maybe give us a little preview of what this deck is trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I can do that. In its core, it's an aggressive deck that is trying to kill your opponent as fast as possible while disrupting them with cards like Phyrexian Revoker and cards like Tanglewire. So
Okay.
they'll try and beat you down while delaying your game plan. So I think you can compare it to something like Humans in Modern or Spirits, where you have some disruptive elements, but also it's just a creature deck at its core. So now I think we need to draw a card with the library before the Tanglewire triggers. But
Tanglewire is tapping 4 of our permanents, correct?
yeah, it's tapping all of our stuff down anyway, so we might as well get the extra card.
So right now, actually, it's doing literally stone cold nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point too much because we want to like set up our game plan anyway.
Yeah, sure. So my inclination here is to go get that basic island to avoid maybe a wasteland, and then like play
You can do that, but yeah, I like the thought, but in reality, you have the Library of Alexandria in play, and that's what he's going to wasteland if he gets the chance anyway.
Sure.
So and you have the Tolarian Academy in hand, so I think playing around wasteland here is not going to do a whole lot for you. So I would go for a colored mana source, preferably an Underground Sea.
But you wouldn't be playing Tolarian Academy and then playing a Voltaic Key, right? Just because the Academy is probably more valuable.
More valuable than the library?
Yeah, to us.
Yeah, for sure. Mana is a thing. We got our value out of the library. We don't have to get greedy, so it's definitely a good thought. And if you put down the Voltaic Key, you will build your artifact count, and you don't have to discard the hand size. So it's just some small edges being gained by playing out the Voltaic Key.
Okay, yeah, we don't need to really cast our Preordain yet and force our opponent to to deal with the Library of Alexandria first.
No, that's fine.
Okay, perfect.
So as long as he doesn't have a fast clock, we can do plays like this that aren't super like we're not pushing the limit of how broken we can go. We're just kind of just slowly establishing some board presence.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I've played games of Standard where I have done much more in the first few turns than play a Voltaic Key and a Mox Opal here. So.
Yeah, the spectrum is very wide in Vintage.
Yeah,
you can lose on turn 1, or you can that's the absolute best card they can have against our deck. So we will need to find a Hurkyl's Recall at some point.
Okay, which we do have 2 of in the deck, right?
Yeah, we have 2 in our deck, and it's basically like this deck has 18 sideboard slots, I guess you can say, with the 2 Hurkyl's Recall and the Flusterstorm in the main deck. And that's because Shops is such a huge chunk of the metagame.
But this does shut down our opponent's Moxes as well, right?
Now they only have the Workshop as mana, and their clock is very very slow. So we're in fine shape.
So I think we still activate Library of Alexandria here.
You don't have to do it because he only has 3 counters on the Tanglewire, so you can just tap the 3 other permanents.
Oh, we get to choose the tap.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just tap the other 3 and keep the library.
Okay. All checks out to me.
And see what we draw here.
Mana Crypt. Kind of a bad draw.
under normal circumstances, you would just want to play it out, but at this point, it can actually do some damage to us and speed up his clock. So I don't think we want to. I don't think we want to go there.
So my inclination is to kind of play this Tellurium Academy and then draw a card off library.
And then go with some preordain action after
double
that.
Preordain, yeah.
I think that's great. We're just looking for the Hercules Recall.
Okay. So first we'll draw. Force of Will, not bad.
No, we kind of make sure that he's not piling on the pressure.
Sure. So I definitely don't want this Mana Vault.
No, that doesn't do anything with Nullrod on the battlefield.
Treasure Cruise isn't terrible, though.
It's a very expensive draw 3 at this point.
So we probably don't want that either.
No, just get rid of that and look for the Hercules Recall.
Okay. I'm gonna
that should be good down the road.
Sure. Brainstorm seems okay.
Yeah, you get to look at a lot of cards. So bottom the Soul Ring.
Yeah.
Draw the Brainstorm. Now we have 8 cards. Then you can just dump the Black Lotus. I mean, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. And then we ship the turn back.
Yep.
Now with a little bit of protection here from Force of Will, so we're not afraid of... I guess like the only thing we really want to be countering is a big threat right now. Is that correct?
Yeah. Just countering a big threat will be... it will just buy you more time to try and find the Hercules Recall. And at this point, if it doesn't have a Wasteland for your Tolarian Academy, you'll just run away with the game
because
very soon.
We could start going like something like sack Scalding Tarns for a Tundra, play Monasteer Mentor, and then Outcome, and then get a bunch of tokens. And the deck really doesn't have a great answer to that. Is that like Walking Ballista? Is that like their
Walking Ballista, but as long as you're giving free space to roam, he needs sphere effect. Speaking of sphere effects, yeah. So Training Sphere makes every spell cost at least 3 mana, so that's very good against us.
So this
obviously.
one we want to counter.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're going to be pitching Brainstorm since it is much less effective than Paradoxical Outcome.
Yeah, so let's see. Do you actually have mana to go Mentor plus Outcome next turn?
That's what I'm thinking we can. I haven't done the math yet, but that's the turn I think we should sculpt out.
Yeah, and we can do that because the Tarn is our white mana. You tap that plus Library plus Underground Sea, cast Mentor, then Mana Crypt, and then the Tolarian Academy adds 4 mana.
And Tanglewire here is quite laughable.
Yes, we can tap some artifacts that doesn't do anything anyway, so it's just perfect.
So we're going to tap this. We are going to go to our turn here. Another PO is pretty interesting. So my inclination here is to play Scalding Tarn, go get that Tundra.
Yep.
Tap Underground Sea, Library, Tundra for Mentor, play a Mana Crypt, Paradoxical for 4, returning them all, and then replaying them, right?
Yeah, that should put him dead next turn.
Yeah, that sounds nice. That sounds.
We have exactly enough mana to do that, so it's not like we have infinite mana, even though it looks like it on our board. But we actually have exactly enough to do this.
Well, Andreas, that's how we planned it out, right?
Yeah, for sure. No need to get greedy and have excess stuff.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm yielding to these triggers here because this deck does produce a bunch of them. So we're gonna return these 4 artifacts. Draw 4 cards. Yield to this trigger. Okay. Now we just play them all, right?
Yeah, I like that. You can, if you want to play conservatively, keep the Mana Crypt in hand.
Okay, I can see that. And if anything, that's a play that we can trigger Prowess next turn.
Yeah, for sure. And then we just, I mean, we're getting him dead no matter how we kind of sequence out the rest of the game.
Yeah, Monasteer Mentor seems to be a lot more powerful in Vintage than it was back in our standard metagame. So I think that's enough right there for Artifact. I think we just ship the turn.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, your turn, sir.
in a perfect world, we would have found another Force of Will there to kind of make sure he couldn't have anything, but I don't really see what he should have at this point.
So you're saying we got unlucky?
I'm not a greedy person, so I'll take this.
Clearly, you've never been to the Droppin Baums page. We specialize in greed and making sure we get as lucky as possible around here.
Then I stand by my statement. Okay. Too bad we didn't find a Force of Will. I mean,
exactly.
Just so unlucky.
Exactly. You're learning, buddy. You're learning. Now we're just... Oh, those were our triggers. Oops, I thought we were waiting on him.
That makes sense.
Haven't played with Tanglewire a lot.
No, it's not a mainstay in the deck either.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. I've seen so, I really haven't seen many Tanglewires here out of that deck. But I mean, it is pretty nice with Workshop here.
Yeah. So that's pretty funny. I mean, if he just had a Wasteland for our Tolarian Academy, then that card would actually be very good. But Tolarian Academy is just insane.
That for each creature?
Yes, we have to pay 1 mana for each creature.
Okay, that could be bad.
So I think we just... Yeah, if you just... How many creatures do we have? We have 6.
4,
so you can just put 6 mana in your pool.
6,
and then that's fine. Just pay for everything.
Okay. We played around that card, right? Because we have 6 creatures and 6 land?
Yeah, that was... yeah, but to be honest, we can just go Crypt, Land, Ancestral, and I think it's lethal.
Okay, yep. Yeah, that is... now that I think about that, this card's called Tabernacle. In my day, which is much past this day, I know Magus of the Tabernacle, or stuff that they have reprinted that ability onto the card to make it less busted. But yeah, I have never actually seen the Tabernacle.
Oh, okay. It plays a somewhat big role in Legacy, but not Vintage too much, because Monastery Mentor recently, well, not recently, like 6 months ago, got restricted.
Okay.
So creatures are not in that high demand these days. So
That's fair. And this seems like a card that kind of screams out like Empty the Warrens for Storm, like it would be great against.
Yeah, stuff like that. But back when Monastery Mentor was a 4-of, I mean, that card was actually had great utility in the metagame. But now we just have 1 Mentor, so...
Makes sense. And I feel like even if we really didn't have our library here of Tolarium Academy to add a bunch of mana, I feel like even saving 4 creatures here, we would have been fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we're taking a peek to make sure there's nothing. Karn, that's probably not gonna finish us off.
No, that's not good enough. So I think maybe if you press the right ability, they will all go on this. Yeah, that one to the right, the Monastery Mentor, the top one. Then I think they all go onto the stack. The one to the on top when they trigger.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I think we're almost lethal.
All the way to the right. All the way to the right.
This one.
Yes, try that. Then they should go on a stack automatic.
Okay, all right. You know the tricks. You know the tricks of the trade. Okay.
So I guess, yeah, all we can do is just attack here.
Oh, all we can do is just attack for a large amount here.
Yeah, it's 20.
Ooh, we punted. We could have force-willed our...
yes, we could have done that. It would have looked pretty bad if we didn't have lethal here.
Yeah. I feel like even if our opponent untapped here, we were all right.
For sure. It's I'm just concerned about the time.
Yeah. Our clock is a little low here. Explaining through the thing, so maybe we'll step it up a notch.
Yeah, I mean, Monastery Mentor is kind of time-consuming to win with anyway, and...
A little bit, yeah.
He had some disruption, so let's just see if we can make it quick. Blightsteel Colossus, now that you just drew that one for the next game, then it won't take so long to win.
Yeah, exactly. That seems fair. Now, is Blightsteel Colossus and Tinker a plan? I know that is a plan against certain decks where it gets much worse. Is Shops one of those decks?
What do you mean it gets much worse?
So, or is it not ideal in, like, I feel like up against, like, fair blue decks, my understanding, and once again, I am not a Vintage player, so I'm learning just as much as the audience is here as well. But something like Tinker Colossus, I feel, is much worse against like fair blue decks, or maybe like Storm or Dredge.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad against fair blue decks because they have Dak Faden, so you can end up tinkering up a Blightsteel, and then they'll play the Dak Faden to steal it. I mean, that's the worst case scenario.
And then just kill you off it, yeah.
Yeah, and then the other bad scenario is when you're playing against an unfair deck that can actually race it, so you put it onto the table, and then they just win the game by comboing off. So,
sure. So since Shops kind of falls under neither of those categories, it would actually be a pretty...
Yeah, it's your
Still
best
keep
plan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's your best it's your best way to victory. Either a quick tinker or the draw go game with building your mana base and then firing off a Hercule's Recall, which we unfortunately didn't find for that game. But
So that brings me to this. So sideboarding against this, I feel like Hercule's Recall seems like it's got to be the best card against him, right?
it's
Like, I mean, just
it's just
everything there
perfect.
is an artifact and like.
Yeah, it's just perfect.
Okay, and then my inclination here is to bring in the islands as well to avoid getting strip mined or strip.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You
strip
have
mine
some
and strip land, right?
Wasteland and Strip Mine.
Wasteland,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay.
So yeah, you're just kind of you want to have your mana to be protected. So basic islands, they can only be hit by the one Strip Mine in their deck. So it's just very good at building your mana. Hopefully building up to a Hercule's Recall on their end step, and then you can try and win on your turn. That's basically the game plan.
Okay, perfect. So cards that would come out, I would assume Flusterstorm since it doesn't really have a target.
Yeah, that only has applications against blue decks.
And what would be another card here that seems weak? I mean, Knight's Whisper seems pretty weak. I mean,
Yeah,
other than that, our deck seems like a well-oiled machine unless we take out some
Yeah, that's basically it. Knight's Whisper is good against blue decks that wants to disrupt us with Pyroblast, Flusterstorm, Mana Drain, Force of Will. But against this deck, you're not really trying to win on the card advantage axis. You just want your mana and you want to win on the first paradoxical outcome or tinker you see. You're not really trying to grind them out. So the Knight's Whisper can go, and then it's just perfect. It's 4 for 4.
Sounds like a plan to me. Okay, let's fire up this game too.
Being on the draw against shops can be kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Because they get to play out their like mana denial stuff before you get a chance to unload your fast mana.
Sure.
So that can be kind of bad. So winning the die roll against shops is very important. But yeah, like the last game, he didn't really have anything going. So it was actually like we were on the play with one extra card.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's like we got to be on the play 3 times.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like if they go like turn 1 Sphere Resistance and then we are left with our 0 mana casting cards costing 1, it seems definitely.
Yeah, and cards like Preordain costing 2. It's not. Yeah, you know that from other formats. You 2 mana cantrips through a Thalia. It's not really too good.
Yeah, this pretty much is a humans deck from Modern, basically.
Yeah, but I think his version is more like a Stax version. I think he will play a card called Smokestack.
Okay.
Rather than a lot of small creatures. So there are.
Heard that card, but what exactly does Smokestacks do?
It is a 4-mana artifact, and at the beginning of his or her upkeep, he can put a counter on it, and then each player during their upkeep has to sacrifice a permanent for each counter on it. So it just slowly grinds out the opposition alongside Wasteland, Null stuff like that. So he's trying to make our deck do nothing.
Okay, fair.
So let's hope he doesn't succeed in doing that.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. I like doing things much more than I like doing nothing. So.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, our opponent has a different opinion, and so let's see what it comes down to.
Yeah, and Paradoxical Outcome is already. Well, I should say was already like a huge pillar in Standard. Like it was so close to being tier 1, but there's just. Trust me, during this last Pro Tour testing, we tried so hard to make Paradoxical Outcome deck work. Like, literally spent 3 or 4 full days trying to make a blue-red outcome deck work, and it's that close. But when you have all these free mana spells and stuff, the card is just unbelievable.
Yeah, Paradoxical Outcome and the Power 9 Moxen are just a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I can tell. All I was bouncing was prismatic prisms, you know, and
yeah,
that tends to be a little less dominating than.
I remember having played the card a little bit in some sealed decks was it in Kaladesh?
It was, yep.
Yeah, I remember some decks, very grindy sealed decks, could play it with some kind of the prisms and cloud blazers, stuff like that. It was just in some sealed decks I could actually see it being good, but in Vintage it's something else.
Yeah. It's just unreal. Well, I know I watched a little bit of the Vintage Super League, which I assume you were in?
Yes, I was lucky enough to play the last season.
The last season, okay. Yeah, I watched a little bit, and Seth was over Pro Tour testing with us, and he happened to have one of the leagues. and he played against Luis's team. And Luis just pretty much never lost because he was always given the Paradoxical Outcome deck.
Yeah, that was kind of the narrative of this Vintage Super League, that Paradoxical Outcome was just by such a large margin the best deck.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like when Affinity was good back in the day in Standard. I don't know if that's before your day or you played back then.
That's about the exact start of when I started playing. I played in Onslaught, so Onslaught moving into Odyssey was next, right? Or
Odyssey was before that. After Onslaught was Mirrodin, and that's where the Affinity deck came in.
Exactly. I was still playing, don't get me wrong, 87 card decks with...
Yeah, okay, sure. So, that's around the time I got into kind of competitive Magic. But what I kind of noticed looking back is that when a deck is so much better than the next best deck, then the other decks will start to react. So it kind of... It's more even now because people play more Null Rods and Stony Silences and some tech against the deck. So it will just even out, is my experience.
Which is what you have to do. I mean, even we see it in the Standard format right now where red-black is the best, So this hand kind of looks similar in the aspect that we have a library on the draw, even though it seems like it's a lot slower. But I would imagine this is still a keep.
Yeah, if he does something broken on turn 1, you can force, but preferably you don't have to force, and you can start building the library.
Yeah.
So it would have to be a very good card.
Oh, yeah, because if we force, we can no longer library.
Yeah, then we get down on cards. You see, that's no problem.
Yeah, unless he just names library.
Revoker is you can only name non-land cards.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay. So we're in the...
So it's not like a Pithing Needle.
Okay, perfect.
And it's actually not absurd that he names Black Lotus here, because that card will allow for you to make the most busted starts.
Sure.
So, but he'll most likely...
Our deck does really want our artifacts to stay on the table with Paradoxical Outcome. Is Black Lotus really that busted with us?
We have... I mean, you can do something like Tutor plus Tinker, or Mentor plus Gas, or...
Sure. So here's just library and play it, right? And draw, right?
Yeah, I like that. Get the Lotus onto the table.
Yeah. Show him.
Another line we could have took here, just ship the turn. Another line we could have took here was just pass. If he then plays a card we want to force a will, then we can draw in response.
Yeah.
And then force down to 6 cards so that we can keep going with the library.
True.
That's also a very common play we see. But yeah, the Revoker is fine. He'll shut down the Lotus.
Which we don't care about right now.
No, right now it's fine. We'll go into the game plan of searching for the Hercules Recall and get to bounce the stuff end of turn before we're dead.
Yep, and then combo off, right?
Yeah. Perfect. So that should be the mindset right now.
Okay. All right, Black Lotus and Mana Crypt are the names here.
Yeah, Mana Crypt makes sense. It's just the best accelerant available.
Hello.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay, but not the end of the world here. Now we just got to play some fair Magic.
Yep.
Okay, so I think we start by Gataxian probing.
Yes, let's see what he's working with so we can take our decisions with Preordain.
Okay, so it looks like we have Karn, Bazaar Baghdad.
Bazaar Baghdad, that's pretty funny.
Interesting. Tabernacle, and Tellurium Academy.
Yeah, and he can't cast a Karn, because Karn doesn't work with Mishra's Workshop, so it's basically the 2 Revokers we're looking at clockwise.
Okay. All right. Well, we got a Mana Crypt, so now we drew a dead card.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So I think...
do we ponder here?
I like preordaining if I have the choice between the 2, because ponder you...
Hello.
Yeah, that's great, and I think we want the land as well.
So we want to be drawing the Underground Sea, or draw the Recall first, right?
Yeah, I don't think it matters because we've already played a land. We're not going to do anything this turn.
Anyways, yep, that's right.
So next turn we have the 2 cards available that we want.
Sounds great. And then we do have that Force of Will for Karn once our opponent actually gets there, but it seems pretty impossible for them to get there with that hand.
They need 2 more artifacts for Tellurian at Academy to make 4 mana. So
yeah, okay.
So let's keep that.
I guess if our opponent plays a Mox and Tellurium Academy, it can play Karn.
Yeah, you're right. It's actually not that much.
But that's
because the Mox
we're gonna snap counter with our opponent's hand, right?
Yeah, for sure. So another wasteland. I mean, that's why we kept another land on top, to make sure we wouldn't lose to this line. So
You're a smart man, Andreas. Smart man.
Yeah, you just kind of have to plan for the worst in spots like this.
Exactly. Yep. Because if we can beat the worst, then we can obviously beat when our opponent has a dead draw.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take 4 down to 12. Then
we're going to
land off the top and play a ponder next turn.
Yeah.
Trying to find, at this point, I would think some Moxes, right? Like, Moxes are really what we want to be turned on our engine, especially a blue Mox.
Yeah. I mean, once we get to bounce his stuff, we have the blue mana unlocked from Black Lotus. So, I mean, any artifact mana will just be great because it looks like we're leaning on Paradoxical Outcome to win this game.
Exactly. And the only problem with using that Black Lotus for blue mana, as far as I can see, is that we are left with one less permanent to Paradoxical Outcome, and only being able to bring back one mana crypt or something is very much less than ideal. But I think if we could get, 2 more pieces of artifact, even if it's something like a Voltaic Key, this is drawing 3 cards and being able to chain some outcomes together seems like a winning line.
Yes, for sure. So let's hope this ponder gets us some good stuff.
Yes. 0 mana artifacts that are not Mana Crypt or Black Lotus.
We already have those, so no danger of that.
Yeah, and for the people at home that may not follow Vintage as much, why are we playing so many one-ofs in this deck?
In Vintage, there's also a ban list, but there's also a restricted list, which means the best cards you can only play one of, such as 2 of the cards you just found on the Ponder and Ponder itself. So it's a lot of singletons combined.
That's fair.
So
I think we want the Flooded Strand and the Soul Ring as our next 2 draws. Is that correct?
We did play a land this turn, right?
We did. Yep.
Then I don't think we need the Flooded Strand.
Oh, really? What about another Wasteland?
Let's see here. Do we actually need the Demonic Tutor for next turn, or do we...
That's what I'm thinking, is we go Demonic Tutor bottom, and then kind of the other 2 don't really matter, but Flooded Strand and Soul Ring as our next 2 draws?
If we... let's see, because we can... Let me just count here, because next turn you'll play your second land, you can bounce the stuff, play the Crypt, play the Soul Ring, and then do you have enough mana to Demonic Tutor for Tinker? No, because you're lacking a blue source then.
But we'd have the Black Lotus as the blue source. Oh, yep, I see what you're saying, but yeah, we wouldn't have enough. So I feel like the safest line for next turn is just Soul Ring, Soul Ring and say go, and then wait for their end step and Hercule's Recall, and then just go off that next turn.
So we go to 4, I guess.
We'd go to 4?
Yeah, we would take 2 more hits, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's not a problem. So we also get the Demonic Tutor.
So you want Soul Ring and Demonic Tutor?
But I like the line you just said, where you put the Demonic Tutor 3rd from the top.
Yep.
And then just hope we don't have to sacrifice the Flooded Strand, so we can also draw the Demonic.
Exactly. I mean, Tundra is going to be our first plan. Yeah.
But this way we're also playing around the Wastelands.
Exactly. I don't want to just lose to a random Wasteland here.
And we have the Force of Will if he plays something to speed up the clock.
Exactly. And we still have Perfect Information on our hand, minus the card that our opponent draw. Bazaar Baghdad is going to definitely shake up that Perfect Information here.
Yeah, for sure.
So drawing 2, discarding 3. So losing out on card advantage for the sake of finding better cards.
For sure.
Because that Karn, I would imagine, is going to the graveyard along with the Tabernacle. Those cards seem very bad right now to me.
Yeah, he can allow himself to play some situational cards when you have the loot effects.
Okay, so we lost Tabernacle, but Karn stays in his hand.
Karn and Academy still there, so 1 unknown.
And it's about to be cast, whatever it is. Tangle Wire. I don't...
Yeah, we can't let that resolve because...
Can't, right?
No, because then he'll just play out the Academy... And then he can just tap his lands and mana sources and just keep attacking.
He's already played a land this turn, though.
Oh, right. Yeah. Huh.
I still think it's correct.
Yeah, let's not let him have that.
Yep. And we got to just be making plays here, just with the clock a little bit. But we should be fine.
Yeah.
So we're going to take 4 here. And then next turn we're going to go Soul Ring with the Tundra. Might as well play a Mana Crypt and then say go, right? Oh, wait, no, because Mana Crypt deals damage. Yep, never mind.
Yeah, let's hang on to that one.
Yep, so we're just going to play Recall or Soul Ring past the turn.
I like that.
With the Tundra, of course.
Yeah.
And then the turn after, we're going to even take some damage here. We're going to take one more swing and then try to Hercule's Recall on our opponent's end step to really make them start with a whole fresh new grip.
Yeah, and then hopefully they will not get another turn after that.
Okay, so Mox Jet here.
Yeah, so he's on the Karn plan.
And which is completely fine.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. We're planning on winning on our next turn, so...
Yep. Even if our opponent makes a giant Karn struct...
He could find a lock piece that would be annoying right now.
He'd have to find 2 lock pieces, though, because we'd choose to not give him the one.
Right.
Okay. Bottled Cloister. We'll just give him the Workshop?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And now we're going to let our opponent attack us here. And then should be going for the win next turn.
Because we have the Demonic Tutor, so...
Yep, we're drawing Demonic Tutor.
Maybe we hang on to that?
Hang on to what?
Hang on. Yeah, we cast a Hercule's Recall now for sure. Just cast a Recall now for sure. I'm just thinking about what we should do with the Demonic Tutor.
Yeah, I'm concerned as well. Maybe we outcome first and kind of survey our options.
Another possibility is that we tutor for something like
a mentor.
Mana Vault was my first.
Okay. But then if we don't draw anything, then the riskiness of that losing us the game, I guess.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So what if how much mana do I have available? A lot.
So we do have enough to go Demonic Tutor for a Mentor, play Mana Crypt, sack Black Lotus to Paradoxical Outcome for 2, but that doesn't seem that great.
No. What about we just play the Crypt and then Outcome and then see what happens from there?
That's what I like. Add, so we net a mana as well here. I would say we tap the Tundra.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think Mentor is the way we win this game.
Okay, we're going to Outcome for 3. Okay, now we're cooking.
That's... Huh. So
we can tinker for Colossus here.
Yeah, but I don't like that, because then he can start making tokens with Karn, play 2 Revokers, make a jump, and then have us dead.
Yep.
So
okay.
So
maybe we get another PO?
Let's see how much mana. PO is I think we would need to sack the Lotus, and then it's only a draw 3. What if let's see how much mana we have available. We have 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. We have a lot of mana.
We do have enough to Paradoxical Outcome for 4 with a Demonic Tutor here, and have 1 floating with this Flooded Strand.
So you can do that, or you can play the Preordain, and then if you find something like a Voltaic Key, then you can just tutor for Time Vault, and then that's it. I don't know if that's one... I think that's worth 1 mana to just try and see if we can...
we have 1 extra anyways here.
Ancestral Recall is a good one.
Should we keep that?
Yeah, drawing 3 seems great.
Yeah, okay. All right, so now I think we just start playing some artifacts, right?
Yeah, I think that's good. I don't think you want to play your land drop out yet because of Tolarian Academy in your deck.
I'm going to play a Soul Ring here. I'm going to play Mox. And then Recall?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Okay, so we got PO.
That's great.
Yeah. So I would think we want to play Mox Opal here, Legend Rule it.
Yeah.
And then play Black Lotus.
For sure.
And then we are going to PO.
I like that. Drawing 4, 1 floating.
Yep. Kind of exactly what we just did. All right. So now...
Still a lot of work to be done.
Yep.
I guess. So just play out some artifacts, and then we have to go for some cantrips, I think.
Okay.
I think I'd go for the Brainstorm, because we have the shuffle effect up our sleeve.
Okay. All right. Not great cards here.
No, so...
I'm going to put back some lands.
Yeah, let's just put back 2 lands.
Shuffle those away.
I like that, so we get to look at fresh ones with preordain.
Yep. Okay, we're going to preordain here. Force of Will, not great.
No, that's not going to do
Don't want
anything.
either of those. Time Walk is a good one, though.
Yeah, the only problem is we put the crypt onto the table, so we might have to bounce our own stuff here. So you go Black Lotus, Hercules Recall yourself.
Okay. We might as well play this to get an extra mana.
Yeah, but I don't think we're doing anything this turn because that's your only blue mana comes from the...
Oh, okay, so you just want a Time Walk here in Hercules.
Yeah, we Time Walk plus Hercules Recall ourselves. That's what we have to do because we don't want to risk losing the flip.
Okay, so now we just Hercules Recall ourselves?
Yeah, I think we have to do that, unfortunately, but...
Okay. And then play one thing and pass the turn?
Yeah.
Or we can Mox Opal for and Demonic Tutor this turn.
Oh, we still... Yeah, but we only have that one colored mana available.
One black. But yeah, we can still search for it and then start our turn with that, right?
That makes sense. So let's go get another Paradoxical Outcome.
Okay. So we're going to add black here. Paradoxical Outcome.
Did all four already... Yeah, we have one available.
Sorry.
Down under the Mox in the last third, yeah.
Okay. Now we just ship, huh?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, now we're untapping. Now we're just going to do a big Paradoxical Outcome. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but that's very time consuming.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know if we had time for that. I think we should try and set up the infinite turns.
Okay, but would our opponent probably would not concede to such a thing?
I understand, so let's just see if we can speed this up and
okay.
You can scroll for dig through time if you want.
Or scroll for Tinker and just get that going? Is that maybe?
Tinker is a sorcery, and Mercy Scroll can only find instants, so
That's right.
There's some stuff there.
Okay, I'm going to do this to add a bunch of mana with Academy.
Yep.
Tinker up a dig through time, you say?
Merchant Scroll for a dig through time, yeah.
Okay.
Delve 6 random cards. I don't know. I think we... So let's see here. We need to take the Hercules Recall because...
Wait, what if we take Colossus and Time Vault here?
We don't have a way to untap the Time Vault.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I think we accidentally played out the Crypt, so we can actually die to that again.
Oh, God. Yeah, you're right. So Recall?
So, yeah, take the Hercules Recall and a Force of Will, I guess.
Okay.
And then I think we have to play the Mentor and bounce our own stuff.
Okay.
So let's see if we can put this on.
Time.
Yeah. So see if you can press the right one first. Then I think it's better.
Okay. So now just start playing, huh?
Yeah. I think you just need to play maybe play out all your stuff. If you can keep 2 in hand, I think it's great.
Okay. Dang it.
And then play one more, and then it's off to his turn.
Okay. Well, we
So
have
just-
sixth, but we do not have counter magic open right now, though, sadly.
I mean, that's what happens. So on your turn, remember he has the opportunity to get Tanglewire from Karn, and Tanglewire will force you to do some actions on your upkeep. So just be ready to click 4 random permanents.
Sure. Yep, and we'd like to be explaining more of this, but when you fight the clock, you just gotta click, so...
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but...
Yeah, kind of awkward when Magic forces you into these kind of game states, but I think we'd only have to cast, 3 spells, is that right?
I feel like 2 should be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just undo F6 and just activate the Sensei's Divining Top, so you have a spell for sure to cast 3 spells, so you have 3 artifacts.
Yeah.
So whenever you get priority, just tap the top and F6.
Just tap it and draw it, or do we want to?
Yeah. No, I don't think you should spend time looking.
Okay, yep.
Just tap
draw it. So we draw it. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then be just
F6, yep.
Yeah, for his turn. And yeah, just F6. It's fine.
I am F6'd. This is a close one. Not close as in the fact that we would actually lose if we had infinite time. This game is completely over, but close as in we need to fight the clock more than we need to fight our opponent.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Let's place a card that... Okay, so just tap the library.
Yep.
The academy for mana and just...
Yep.
Go off.
Looks like our opponent is...
How much mana is available? 1 floating, and the academy taps for 1, 2, 3, 4.
So 4, 5 mana available, but everything costs 1 more to play, so 4 mana essentially.
Yep.
This might be a walking ballista. That could be bad.
He can play it for 2, yeah. Huh. So is 3 spells enough? Right now it is. If he plays another creature, I'm not sure.
If he plays a ballista and can kill prowess creatures, then it would probably for sure not be enough.
Yeah. Remember, we got the 4th spell now. We have the top and the 3 artifacts in your hand.
Yep, you're right about the smokestacks there. Okay. Alright, we're going to... Why? How many spells do we need here? Oh, our opponent...
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. There's good people out there.
That was kind of a warning for us. We need to be just as interesting, but in less time.
Yeah, normally in standard, I can talk through plenty of matches and still have plenty of time to finish the game. But vintage, a lot harder to click. But I think that was an awesome round 1. I'm excited for round 2. How about you, Andres?
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I love vintage.
All right, stay tuned for round 2. And we're back for round 2 here with Andreas Petersen. Andreas, that was a bit of an interesting round 1.
Oh yeah, I'm still wiping off the sweat from my forehead. It got really stressful in the end, but
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we had a click fest there, Luckily, our opponent was nice enough to give us the win, even though more than likely we would have got there here, but...
Yeah, it would have been a close call, but I mean, in real life, it was locked. That game was locked up, so...
Oh yeah, in real life, we would have had 15 minutes... There would have been 15 minutes of time left on the clock, and we would have went and got lunch, we would have had plenty of time.
Yeah, but that's what my good friend Thomas Annebalsen always tells me, that Magic Online is a game that is similar to Magic, so I think that's a good point.
That is very, very true. Okay, so towards this hand doesn't seem like it has the most explosive aspects, but we do have some disruption, along with, one of the most powerful lands, if not the most powerful land in our deck, so I think this is a keep. Am I correct there?
Yeah, for sure. This is kind of like it's not super busted, but it's too good to send back.
It's
for
fun.
Sure.
Yeah, these cards will find us our busted cards, Ooh, a blue deck. I'm excited for this. So cards like Preordain we never even consider countering, right? Like,
nope.
It's just a huge card disadvantage.
Yeah, you want to force a will stuff like Planeswalkers, like Ancestral Recall, stuff like that.
Okay.
And you want to use it to force through your own game plan.
Sure.
So he can sculpt his hand. That's fine.
Yep. Okay, Tinker. That's an interesting one. That's a card that we want to force a will our way through.
Oh yeah. We have a turn. No, we don't have a turn 2 Tinkers set up because that Mox doesn't give any mana. So
Exactly. So my inclination is to just play the island, or does these kind of decks not really play Wasteland, so we just kind of want to get Tundra or Underground Sea first?
there could be two reasons for hanging on to the Misty Rainforest. One is we don't know whether we want white or black mana right away.
Yep.
And the other one is
effect, right?
and the shuffle effect alongside Ponder.
Perfect.
So I think for those reasons and not Wasteland, we will lead on the island.
And Preordain.
Yes.
I think seems like the best play because if we want to manipulate our grave or our top of our library with Ponder, we want to do that on a turn where we can Ponder and then play a Sackland.
For sure. So the Emerald is pretty good.
Yeah, so I think we keep the Mox and get rid of this Scalding Tarn.
Let's do that.
Okay. Sounds
So the
sweet.
question is if we play out the Mox in here or we don't. It has to do with Flusterstorm. Whether we have enough mana to play around Flusterstorm next turn. Let's see. If you play the Mox, 2 Moxen out, then next turn you go Academy, that adds 2 mana. Then you tap the Emerald, that's 3 mana. Then you still only have 1 mana left.
But
so you don't...
wouldn't we be able to play Tinker with 1 mana floating to pay for the Flusterstorm?
Flusterstorm has Storm, so in itself it's a Force Spike, and with your Tinker it then becomes a Spell Pierce at minimum.
Okay, so in hindsight, we're not gonna be tinkering next turn regardless, unless we were to draw another artifact, another free artifact.
Yeah.
So,
Unless he
maybe
taps
that's
out.
worth it. If we do top deck another Mox, then that unleashes not only an extra land from the Academy, but it unlocks this Mox. So
Yeah, and then we can pay.
Then we could tinker with Force of Will backup. So maybe it is worth it.
I like playing out the Moxen.
And
Let's
both of them,
let's
right?
do that. Yeah, just play out both of them. I mean, the only downside here is that if we draw something like Monastery Mentor, then we lose out on some free spells.
Sure.
And then there's the minor issue of if he plays a Dak Phaeton, like land Mox Dak Phaeton, which can steal an artifact. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't think we have to be concerned about that at this point. Okay, Grixis colors.
Interesting.
So I'm actually not sure what this is. He could be on Tinker here. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, Time Walk is fine. It's just a good explore at this point.
Yep. And yeah, like you said, we want to be Force of Willing like his Tinker or like Dark Faben or Ancestral Recall, the cards that really punish us here. The cards like Time Walk really don't do anything on their own at this stage of the game. Maybe those later in the game and our opponent had something out already, but
Time Walk is insane when you have like creatures, when you have planeswalkers. So, but at that point, it's just a random cantrip.
Exactly. I mean, with cards like Soul Ring and being able to untap like that, it does some pretty ridiculous things. I have to say.
It's pretty absurd to talk about Time Walk doing almost nothing, but of course, it's very good to untap your mana when you have mana acceleration on the table.
Exactly. So our opponent ponders, chooses to not shuffle.
Yeah.
Draws, which most likely is the Mox that our opponent played, but really it could be anything.
Yeah.
Now we might see a repeal, likely just trying to build up
repeal in his own Mox. Yeah, or he just saw his top with the top 3 with Ponder, so maybe he needed the first card and the second card now. So let's just see what he has there.
That is kind of a cute interaction, being able to play a Mox, repeal it with the mana for the Mox, and then just replay it.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's just kind of your
black mana. This could be scary.
Demonic Tutor. I would just let him go for that.
Yeah, because we want to counter whatever he or she tutors for.
Yeah, because in a perfect world, they spend more resources trying to cast that card, and we just kind of get some more value for our money.
Sure. Okay.
And
there is a world where maybe Demonic Tutor went and searched up a Force of Will, and then our opponent might go something like, land Tinker, and then that Force of Will now gets us. But in that spot, that Tinker was resolving anyways.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
so
nothing to play.
And the fact that we played the Mox Opal kind of gave away that we are a broken deck. So he could have just went for a Flusterstorm or Force of Will here.
That's fair.
So
So we have Tellurium Academy for 4 here, so we could go Academy and Paradoxical Outcome, but that doesn't seem great right now.
no, that's not. I think we can do better. So I like just starting off on the Ponder,
Okay.
and then just slowly settling into the fact that the Tinker is going to be pitched to Force of
So
Will.
well, okay. Just kind of give up on that game plan.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. So I mean, Night's Whisper is great.
So maybe we just keep the Night's Whisper here, play this Misty Rainforest, go get that Underground Sea, and just cast Night's Whisper. I think that's the play I want
Yep.
to do.
I like that because if he has a Fluster Storm, he kind of has to counter it. He can't just let us like get additional cards.
Sure.
And then that's out of the way.
Yeah, and then if we bait that out, then the card we really care about, which is Paradoxical Outcome, kind of has a bigger opening.
Yeah, that's the okay.
That's sixth, I feel. So that's
Yeah, we
interesting.
unfortunately we can't get the top onto the battlefield, but so maybe he just found the Force of Will, like you said, and then he has some kind of power play now with backup.
I have played my fair share of Magic Online, Andreas, and I know when my opponent F6, and he F6 that turn. I think we should take this information into concern. He's trying to do the busted stuff too.
Yeah, let's not allow him to draw 3 cards. Let's try and say no. And I think we pitched the Tinker. I don't think that's the name of the game.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like what we want to be doing anymore.
Because those colors suggest he's running Dak Faden, and now he also showed you the Paradoxical Outcome, so he's able to finish the game in 1 turn. So
okay, Dak Faben, for the people that don't know what that does, can you give us a walkthrough of
yes, it is a 3-mana Planeswalker, cost 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 colorless. It comes into play with 3 loyalty. For +1, it will do a Faithless Looting imitation. Draw 2, discard 2. And then for -2, it says gain control of target artifact. So that is obviously very potent in Vintage because it's revolving around these powerful artifacts, and the Blightsteel Colossus is just the best card to take control over. I mean,
sure. So basically, our Tinker plan becomes very useless.
it's kind of a liability.
It's a liability, exactly. But this draw, I think, was insane.
That draw was insane, yeah.
So my inclination here is to play the top off the Emerald, and then play Mana Vault, and then start Paradoxical Outcoming.
Let's do it.
All right.
And I feel like if he had any interaction, he would have just protected his own Paradoxical
Outcome.
Outcome.
Try to kill us. So we really could have the green light here.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm taking from this situation.
Okay.
So let's see. How much mana do we have? Can we actually cast 2 POs?
I think we can. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 mana available to us.
I mean, that's awesome. So you want to do the trick with Sensei's Divining Top here? I don't know if you know it.
I think I do know it. So what you're talking about is just like look at the top 3 cards and then Paradoxical Outcome to get some value, right?
You want to do the bottom ability. You want to activate the draw ability and then PO in the response.
But don't we want to have that on board? Like, is there some kind of trick I think I'm missing on here, Andreas? Or
it's you activate the top, you hold priority. It's very important. You activate the top, the bottom ability, you hold priority, and then you cast the PO. So you both get to draw from. I don't think you tapped the Academy yet.
You don't tap the Academy yet. Okay, yep. I guess there's no point.
And then you just return your 4 artifacts. So you get 4 cards if it resolves, plus the extra card for Sensei's Divining Top.
Ooh, that's spicy. That is spicy.
So let's see here. Oh, okay, then he'll try and use his own Hercule's Recall as a negate, which is a very good play. But obviously we have to respond with our Paradoxical Outcome.
Okay.
Because he's trying to return all our artifacts in response to the PO, which would then counter the PO.
Now, is there any way I want to activate top here to look first? No, because I'm drawing all of them.
You're drawing them anyway, so it makes no sense.
So now this is resolving. We're going to get to draw off that top, which is busted. Okay, now we're going to do some things. I'm just going to start dumping these artifacts out.
Yeah, let's do that. So basically now we want to take a page out of his playbook and use the time walk as kind of mana acceleration in the sense that we get to untap the Academy and try and go nuts again.
So this doesn't untap, so I don't really want to use this, correct?
No, you don't want to use it unless you're like making a game-winning play or casting a PO.
So just time walk and say go, huh?
Yeah, that seems great.
Okay. So we're going to go untap.
So that one triggers anyway, even though it's not tapped. So you just have to...
I could pay 4 if I wanted to.
You could pay 4 to untap it.
Okay, so this makes me think we want to start with a preordain.
Let's do that. Let's keep our options open.
Flusterstorm, Voltaic Key. I don't really want either of those.
No, those just don't do anything right now.
Okay. Demonic Tutor, I bet, does something.
Yeah, so what do you want to get? You have...
So I feel like there's a combo I'm missing here with Voltaic Key and a card that I forgot the name of. But I feel like that's what we want to be doing.
Yeah, so the thing I would do here is play out the Voltaic Key first to check for Mental Misstep. It would look kind of silly if you tutor up the Volt and then you get Mental Misstep.
Yep, okay, and now I'm going to play this top as well.
I mean, that's fine. You can do that.
Okay, and then mostly just because if he does have Mental Missteps, I have the option to look at the top 3 and find a blue card and maybe force a will it.
Yeah, it's fine. And it's also mana neutral. Well, what's that called? It's cost 1 mana, but now the Academy gives you 1 more mana, so it's...
Okay. So
it doesn't lose you mana.
I am going for... What is this card called
again? Time Vault.
Time Vault. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to get a Time Vault. I'm going to play it. And hopefully our opponent concedes, huh?
You can even... Yeah, that would be the good part. You could even hardcast your Force of Will in this circumstance.
Oh, yep, you're right. Okay, so we're going to take an extra turn. And now our opponent should...
You haven't played a land yet, so you can just look with the top. And you...
We don't really want those, right?
No, I mean, you don't need those.
We don't need anything, right?
No, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, you're just winning now, so let's just see if you can hardcast the Colossus and
then take an extra turn?
Yeah, at the same time. Okay. I mean, Tolaran Academy is pretty good
at casting this big creature.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to deal us a damage. Now we are going to, first things first, draw some cards.
You can do that.
We can really do whatever we want, I feel, huh?
Yeah, so how much?
Add this, a 6, 7, 8, 9,
I don't think
10,
you're yet.
11. We're not quite there yet, so we're going to untap this.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we could untap Mana Vault.
Yeah, then you don't get the time walks, so the extra turns, so...
So take an extra turn. Maybe we do a little PO action here?
Sure.
Yeah, maybe we can get enough mana.
Yeah, it's pretty busted when casting your PO nets you mana.
Yeah, that is just disgusting here. Okay, so we're going to add this. We're going to do this ability to draw.
Yeah, you needed to do it the other way around, but I...
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. I
so that's just funny.
Think it matters this time. I don't know what you think, but...
No,
okay,
I agree.
We already had our extra turn here, so... We're just going to try to get enough mana to maybe cast Colossus, which I don't think. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're one short.
Not quite there.
With the Voltaic Key, we can get there, right?
Did you count you can untap the mana vault? Did you count that mana?
I did not. Nope.
Okay, then...
Sure. This should equal enough, but maybe my math isn't correct. So that is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Just casting a Blightsteel Colossus here.
Great stuff.
Yep, and now we're just going to F6 to victory. Attack with the Colossus.
So this is kind of cool. He's on Grixis Paradoxical Outcome, so it's kind of a mirror match.
Seems like it. What would that red be for? I mean, you mentioned the Dark Faben. Is that really it? Maybe.
I think he will have some Pyroblasts in his sideboard. 1 red, counter a blue spell, which is obviously very good against you.
Very good, yeah. So my inclination here is that Flusterstorm is good.
Flusterstorm is perfect. Yep.
Outside of that, I would say these Campbells would be for this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. He's just such a powerhouse. In Vintage, you don't really play removal spells like in other formats, so when he's on the battlefield, even just casting a Preordain or a Mox will just kill you slowly.
So is the Blightsteel Colossus Tinker plan maybe not what we want to be doing?
Yeah, I don't like that for this matchup. Let's cut those.
Okay, so we got one more card here to cut. Or maybe more cards to bring in here.
I think we're good on the cards to bring in.
Okay. So one card to cut here. You were saying Night's Whisper were one of our weakest cards against shops or stacks last round, I should say.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, this is like the matchup it's for, though, right?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfectly fine in this matchup. You would be looking at either to take out a mana source because he's not attacking your mana, or you would take out a Hercule's Recall because what he just did in the last game, that's basically the best application for it. So
Which didn't seem great.
It's not great. You don't need two for sure, but drawing one is fine. Okay. But drawing two can be not very good.
Okay, well, I think this looks good to me. Yeah, and this seems like a deck where you don't really want to change too much.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're really taking away from the integrity of the deck itself. I mean,
for sure.
Like you can never be taking out Force. You can never be taking out PO. I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay, we're going to submit this and hope our clock situation is a little better than last round, but I kind of don't think it is. We might be in for another click fest here, ladies and gentlemen.
But this seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
So he's not making us do. Okay, this is spicy.
This is pretty good, right? Because we can maybe get a turn one Campbell, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure looks like it.
We're gonna keep this. Now that does come with a lot of risk because just using your Black Lotus to cast a spell, if it does have the Force of Will, normally it would be I guess still a 1-for-1 since. It would be 2 cards for Force of Will, but it would be 2 cards of us committed as well. But,
sure. You can go ahead.
Okay. But when it comes down to 2-for-1s or the value play, matters a lot less in Vintage. It's really about the spells themselves.
For sure, and that's why Black Lotus is such a good card because it's often card disadvantage when you play spells off of your Black Lotus, but it has to do with speed as well.
Okay.
But in this scenario, if he's countering our Kambal with a Force of Will, then we will be left with our Mox Opal turned off. So it's actually even more card disadvantage than. So let's just see what our draw steps grants us. Okay, so that makes for a perfect plan B, because if he forces it, we have the Night's Whisper for next turn.
To restock, right?
Yeah, so
I feel like we're going to start with the Scalding Tarn. We don't want to play the Misty Rainforest just because that's the unknown card from our opponent. No reason to give him extra information right now.
Yeah, that's great to keep track of the cards your opponent knows about, and then just trying to reveal as little as possible.
Exactly. So I'm going to sack Scalding Tarn for a blue-black land.
Yep.
And then I say we want to just start with Mox Opal.
That's fine.
Maybe we want to start with Black Lotus first.
I think either one is fine. Yeah. He could have something like Mental Misstep here for the key.
Okay.
But that's not really anything we can do about it.
Yeah, I'm still going to play the key now.
Yep, do that. It would be pretty awesome if all the interaction he had was either Flusterstorm or Pyroblast.
Yeah, and now we just go for it, right?
Yeah, remember to tap for mana first, yeah.
So white, and then we add all black with this?
Yeah, that's what the card says, Black Lotus.
Yeah. Is there any way we can... No, okay.
But, I like the thought. Just see, is there any way we can...
We can use that Voltaic Key to get another color source, is what I was thinking. But
yeah.
Ooh, that just resolves. That has got to be good for us.
So we saw the repeal last game, but other than that, I can't really think of any good answers for it. Maybe if he just runs out a Tinker, that's a good answer for Kambal. But
that'd be a good one.
But Tinker is not very good in the matchup in general, so there's a high probability that Tinker Colossus is also in his sideboard, just as we boarded it out.
Yep. That logic checks out to me. Vampiric Tutor.
So now he gets to find an answer for Kambal.
Sure. Hopefully there's no Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt seems like a great answer.
Yeah, that would be just not very intuitive to have in his sideboard in the first place and then bring it in.
Sure. Hercule's Recall the top deck for us doesn't seem very
that's kind of if he just went for Tinker, then that's our way out of that.
Oh yeah, because we could return his Colossus.
Yeah.
So I think we start by attacking.
Let's do that.
Have you won games with normal damage with this deck?
What do you mean normal damage? Does
By
Monastery
attacking?
Monastery
Okay,
Mentor?
that
But aside,
that counts.
but yeah, Kambal beatdown is normal.
Okay.
That happens.
So
Getting
here
in
we want to
there
hit the
and
Tundra, correct?
let's do that. Yeah, he's not gonna attack our mana, so now we can cast.
All
We
right.
have the colors to
Draw 2
cast all the spells in our
cards.
decks. Yeah, Flusterstorm is kind of
Yep.
what we expected.
Which
Excuse
is
me.
fine with us. Our opponent
Yep.
has to put that on the stack, but it doesn't trigger twice, right? It's
No,
just
unfortunately,
it's
he's
just
only
cast.
yes, he's only casting one spell, and then he gets some copies for free.
Sure. Still seems like a tough spot for our opponent, even though if our opponent can deal with that Campbell, like, we're kind of out of gas.
Yep. Chain of Vapor. Yeah.
Now we do
We're
not
not-
want to sack anything.
Yep. That's pretty funny that he had that.
Yeah.
Let's see what he can do from here.
Now
Just the
we also
top.
just need a land or an artifact to replay.
Land or Mox.
That'll do.
I think getting the Kambal down is better than drawing 3. But can we do both?
Can we do both? I think we...
No. Yeah, then we need to hit a land from the top 3 cards. I don't think that's worth it. I think the Kambal is just
You think
so
it's
great.
too greedy?
Yeah, I think the Kambal, he has to force a will it, otherwise he's super dead.
Yeah, okay.
We can, yeah, that's fine. So you're disguising the fact that you're keeping all mana up.
Our opponent's just blind drawing, trying to hit a force, I think.
Yeah, he needs either a blue card or a force of will from the top.
And just concedes.
Kambal, he's a house.
Ball takes down the match. Well, I can see, Andreas, why you play such a card like that.
Yeah, it's actually some tech that I was the first one to bring to the table, and now it's just kind of industry standard, so I have to play against it a lot, which is kind of painful.
Well, I mean, to be fair, when you top 8, how many challenges in a row have you, or how many challenges total?
34, but I think around 15 or 20 in Vintage.
That's insane. I mean, when you have numbers like that, people look at these challenge, deck lists as a source of what they're going to play next week. I mean, people do this for standard Grand Prix. People do this for, modern challenges. I mean, it comes down to the same aspect. The people that are doing well, their lists are going to become known. So, it looks like your next job is to level yourself and start bringing in some, swords to plowshares to deal with their Campbell or something like that.
Yeah, I've done some various stuff, like play Caracas, if you know that card.
I do know Caracas, yep.
Yeah, so you can have that. It's good against Kambal, it's good against Leovold. So instead of one of the islands in the sideboard, I've used a Caracas at some point. So yeah, there's some next leveling of myself going on, for sure.
It. I know me and my brother, I had to do that at a couple of standard Grand Prix. We would play top 8 a tournament, have to level ourselves the next week, play again, have to level ourselves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, stick around for round 3 with me and Andreas Petersen trying to get that coveted 3-0. Don't leave. All right, and we're back for round 3 here. And I got to give you a little side information here. Me and Andreas played a couple extra matches beforehand because, well, Magic's great. And B, I had to learn some of these cards too, because if anyone has followed me knows that I am predominantly a standard player here, so there was a learning curve that we wanted to play a couple of matches early, but with the help of Andreas Petersen, we 2-0'd the early one, so this is our trophy match here. Just a little extra pressure here.
Yeah, I like that. I don't call it pressure. I call it motivation. I want to get
motivation. Yes.
I want to get this.
Absolutely, me too. And starting here on the play, definitely an advantage, but I think this hand is horrible.
Yeah, see, this is where Vintage is kind of strange, because having the Force of Will and having the top that's kind of making sure you can get to the next level of developing your mana, and then the Knight's Whisper.
Yeah.
I would say this is a keep.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I would have already had this shipped to the mulligan. I would have already drawn my fresh 6, but you're the expert here. So
I guess what you can say is that this is a hand where you cannot leverage being on the play. And I think that's where you get your... If you were on the draw with this one, I think you would be much more positive towards keeping it. So
okay.
I think that's just my advice on the matter.
Okay, I like it. And we're going to get the Underground Sea here right away because of Knight's Whisper.
Yeah. because then no matter, even if we could draw an off-color Mox, we can cast that Night's Whisper.
Perfect. And I guess we were super afraid of Mental Misstep here if our opponent...
Getting Mental Misstep there would not have been great, but we have so many mana sources in our deck, so, I mean, I'll take the chance.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I like gambling. Okay, another blue deck here. This is exciting. Night's Whisper. We could easily be in the market for a mirror match here. This is a card we don't counter, though, right?
Yeah, you can't really afford to throw away 2 cards for him to negate him drawing 2 cards. So,
yeah, that seems kind of like a double negative here. At our upkeep, we probably want to do something here, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you could go and be super ballsy and not activate the top, but yeah.
So I think, God, these cards are good.
Yeah. I think getting a land into play is the most important thing, and then the Emerald next up. So Mox Opal,
shuffling it, right?
Probably. I don't think we have to. If he, I mean, I don't. We play a land this turn, and then instead of topping, we just draw into the Emerald next turn. I don't mind that.
Yeah, because I mean, ideally, if we sack that fetch land and go for a land, probably the Tundra, what we want to be doing then is looking at the top for a Mox, right?
Yeah, so basically that was just the perfect top in this scenario where we kept this hand.
Yeah, okay, I like that. So, but being vintage, our opponent could have absolutely anything. We could be absolutely dead this turn. Who knows?
Yeah, you just never know until... So when your opponent plays a card like Preordain, it's just a sigh of relief because that was not an Ancestral Recall or something even more broken.
Okay, so just passes it back here. I think we're just going to untap and draw this card.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to play the Mox. Now we have some decision if we want to be like Night's Whispering and then looking at our top, but because we know we have a Mox. Oh, we have a Mox Opal on top, so we probably want to draw that.
I was thinking about just dropping the Monastery Mentor and kind of make a Force of Will check.
Ooh, okay.
And then if that resolves, then we should be in a good spot.
Okay, all right. I'll defer to you on this. So let's just do a mentor.
Yep. And if he Force of Wills this one, I don't feel like forcing back.
Okay. We're just checking.
Yep.
All right, we'll give it a go. And you don't feel like forcing back. Why wouldn't you? Is this like the game-winning card kind of thing?
Yeah, it can be, but to be honest, it's more like I want to take his Force of Will so that our Force of Will against his action spells will get there.
Okay. And yeah,
because
we're gonna let this Vampiric Tutor resolve.
Yeah,
very
for sure.
highly getting a Force of Will.
Vampiric Tutor puts the card on top of his library, because of her library. So I guess he's just trying to go broken on his turn.
And do we want to draw with this top to try to maybe get something? That doesn't seem good, right?
Yeah, it's basically only if you have a 0 drop on top, so I think it's just better to leave and play.
Yeah. Okay.
So now we could be in a lot of trouble because he either found a Force of Will for backup, or some business. And I guess he found some business. Yeah, we can't allow that.
Okay. Probably ditching the Hercules Recall?
Yeah, Hercules Recall is most likely not going to do anything this game.
Sure. Gonna try to counter this.
Yeah, he has 6 more cards, so this could go very wrong or...
Probably just very wrong.
Yeah, so he had the backup.
Yep.
As expected, he had a good card and some backup, so let's see if we're
dead, huh?
Yeah, that's very possible.
Ooh, Academy is probably not a great sign for us here.
Definitely not.
I mean, maybe there's a world we're supposed to activate top trying to get a Force of Will here?
He's just drawing 2 from this one, and he already tapped his Academy, so it's okay.
So we're probably not dead this turn.
I don't want to...
We can't say that.
I like your optimism, though.
Yes, thank you. Because now our opponent does have Paradoxical Outcome mana again here, which is likely to be the case.
Yeah.
Now, is this a situation where maybe we want to blind draw?
The thing is that if we get super lucky, it's good. But if we don't, then we just have one more free spell to play with the Mentor next turn. So it's not the end of the world if we miss.
Yeah.
So I can see that. Let's go with your gut feeling on that one.
I've top decked before many a times. Why not now, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's go for it.
Spin it. Oh, it was blue. Unfortunate.
So he has a lot of cards.
Likely knows that we have absolutely nothing, so...
Yeah, that's his cue to that, us acting at the top and doing nothing.
Yep. Our opponent maybe made the very, very nice, correct assumption that this Mentor was not going to do enough.
Yeah, so basically his mindset was the same. Like, I didn't want to force back, and he didn't want to force. So that's kind of the same mindset, I guess.
Yep. Or maybe we got leveled. One of the two.
Yep.
Our opponent does have Paradoxical Mana again. I mean, you chain those together. The more and more you play, the more and more vicious they get.
Yeah, for sure. So he's just spinning his wheels right now. He's not really getting anywhere.
Uh-oh. That's a good one. Turns the engine on instead of just spins the wheels.
Oh, yeah.
Ruh-roh.
So what's he going to do here?
Is that Yawgmoth's Will?
Yawgmoth's Will. So now he gets to replay all of his graveyard. And Yawgmoth's Will...
Even Paradoxical Outcome.
Oh, yeah. Yawgmoth's Will's best friend is Black Lotus.
Yeah.
Because that will come back as well.
Oh, my. I think it's safe to assume that we're dead here.
We're super dead.
I think, let's watch a little bit. Let's just, for the sake of comedy, see, maybe, and honestly, this is a big thing here. We want to see what our opponent can kill us with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him playing the Yawgmoth's Will is, to me, a sign that he's planning to kill us with Tendrils of Agony, which he just put on top with his Vampiric Tutor.
That could also be a dead giveaway that he's going to kill us with Tendrils of Agony, but, I'm not the vintage expert, so...
Yawgmoth's Will, you're typically looking to storm... Yeah.
Haven't seen that site in a while. I was around for the Mind's Desire and Standard for...
Oh, yeah, I played a little of that.
Yeah, and I never did like seeing that site, that's for sure. Okay, Andreas, that might have been the first game that we've lost. I think maybe we lost one game in our practice game, but otherwise, that's...
so I'm just trying to shake that off and move on because I was getting used to winning so much.
I know, I'm not sure, like, I think... Now we're actually on the play. Like usually after game one, we start on the draw. Isn't that correct?
And then there's no more magic.
Exactly. It's just over. Yeah, we have to really adjust our gameplay here. I'm gonna guess Campbell is gonna be another way that we want to try to win this game.
For sure. And Grixis doesn't have. He can't play Kambala on his own. So.
Perfect.
He doesn't have that to cancel ours out.
But there is another card that you've mentioned in the past that we should be very much afraid of, and it is Dark Faden. So is that a reason why... Oh, is it Dak?
Dak Faden. F-A-Y-D-E-N. Dak Faden. Okay. Yeah, we don't want the Tinker plan because, as you saw, he's very capable of winning the game in one turn.
I did notice that.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, that was nice.
Let's see, and didn't we get rid of a Hercules recall last time we played against Grixis?
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of what we want to be doing again here. I don't see a reason to add more land, even though we only have 13.
You can either remove an island or remove a Hercules recall here. It's your call.
I'm thinking Hercules recall. It seems like a very minuscule effect. When we're just trying to use that as like a negate for specifically only Paradoxical Outcome.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, it's like a very bad outcome for us where maybe we could generate some extra mana, but that doesn't...
It can also, actually, in post-board games, alongside Kambal, you can bounce his artifacts, so he will have to pain himself to get him back into play. That's not useless.
Okay, that's kind of spicy. But,
so it's just... I don't know if that brings us over the hump of wanting number 2 over a land.
I think it's fine, especially since we have like a merchant scroll. Technically, that's kind of 2. If we really wanted to search for some way for Campbell to really, close the door on a game. So
it has happened for me before that I was closing the game down with bouncing his jewelry.
Yeah, in his jewelry. I like that. Okay, let's get ready here for a little comeback train. Okay, what do you think about this hand, Andreas?
With one land, it would be medium to good, but yeah, no way.
Ooh, God, that's bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So the beauty of Vintage is we have Ancestral Recall in our deck, so hitting the mulligan button is not the end of the world. We still have some outs, and this hand just does nothing.
It does nothing, right? I mean, like, basically, essentially, the third land is pretty much a mulligan, right? Like,
for sure.
I mean,
The Opal is bad. Time Walk is just a random card.
I mean, this is fun.
This is a fine 5-card hand.
A PO on top. We don't really want that right now.
Let's get the PO out of here.
Yeah, that's my inclination as well.
I think we need to dig for mana here rather than keep up Flusterstorm.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really want to be casting Night's Whisper on turn on 2.
Yep.
I think we only want one of these though.
There is a world where we keep both, then next turn do nothing, then turn 3 Night's Whisper with the Flusterstorm up.
Okay, I could see that.
That could be a way to get back into this game. Because we are down a lot of resources, and I think we need to be a little conservative.
Okay, so let's keep them both.
Yeah. I think that's the most realistic route to victory.
Sure. Because we aren't winning on our... It seems like with us mulliganing to 5 and having kind of a card advantage hand, that we aren't really winning by... our explosive draws that we have in the past.
No,
you know,
we need to stall out the game and then mitigate the disadvantage of the mulligan. Yeah, well, that's...
How's this stalling the game plan do against Black Lotus into Ancestral Recall?
Yeah, it's pretty demoralizing to think about that land go would actually beat that opening.
Yeah, that is demoralizing, isn't it?
Because he played the Lotus, Ancestral, and then Flusterstorm. That's 3 spells. And I don't think he had a land. He might not even have a land now.
Very real possibility that our opponent doesn't go for that line, though, if we do choose to just say go.
It's a possibility. Maybe his hand was just kept on the back of...
those 2 cards.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't have any starting blue mana aside from that.
If only we had our peak.
Yep, the Gitaxian Probe.
The Gitaxian Probe, yeah.
Yeah, that card is kind of like cheating.
Speaking
the cost is...
Look at this top. Look how cool that is.
Yeah, I think it's from Masters 25, I think it's called.
Well, it's nice.
Or Eternal Masters, maybe.
Okay, I think you might have been right on that land assumption here, with the way that the sequences were played out here.
Yeah, for sure. It's... Damn, that Flusterstorm would have been great.
Yeah. So basically, I think we can just... One takeaway that we can have from all these games is that you led us down this wrong path, and it's causing us the game, right?
If only we would just have seen a mana source from the scry, then when we could have gone with that route.
Or let's get real, if we would have just not mulliganed to 5.
Yeah, that didn't help the cause.
Yeah. Now, I mean, does Flusterstorm do us anything? Like, with how much mana our opponent...
It will counter a PO.
Yeah. Maybe that's worth it, just playing a land go, then?
How many cards does our opponent have in hand?
Opponent has 4 cards in hand here.
Yeah, it's just super likely that he has the PO.
And we just die to that, right?
Yeah, then we just die, so... Yeah, land go?
I mean, Flooded Strand or Tundra, does it matter much? Probably
I don't think
Tundra, right?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think it matters too much. It's some small stuff with the one-off Brainstorm if we...
Ponder, yeah.
Yeah, if we draw those, and we don't want to spend our land drop casting, playing out the fetch, then having the fetch on the battlefield first can be better, but it's super small margins.
Yeah, and this seems like a situation where maybe our opponent sort of smells blood and can maybe try to take advantage of us having a small amount of cards, and that might be the situation where maybe we could get him with a Flusterstorm or something. So I like holding it up now, even though we're still definitely in a bad spot. Well, that situation we were talking about just happened, so playing to your outs here is definitely a valuable lesson.
Yeah, for sure, even though it's just singletons.
Exactly. I think we start with a Ponder here off the Tundra.
So you would rather look at 3 cards and get to pick 1 rather than draw 2 from the Whisper?
Yeah, that's a good point, because we do probably want to still keep Flusterstorm open.
Yeah, so I think we use our mana a little better.
Yep.
Also, what about this? I like so I feel like this game we need some disruption and we need to like draw out of it to mitigate the card disadvantage over time. Are you on the same page that this is going to be a long game if we're going to win?
That is the page I'm on. So are you? Is the mindset you're heading at maybe merchant scrolling for an ancestral recall?
I'm actually on the mindset of merchant scrolling for a Force of Will to try and stall out the game.
Oh, interesting.
But the thing is, they have a Sensei's Divining Top, so their card quality is most likely going to be better than ours.
Yep.
So we would need to do some catching up with the Night's Whisper from next turn. But I think that's how we win this game. That's by hoping they invest a lot of stuff, and we can say no, and then we can try and grind into the game with the Night's Whisper, hopefully chain some draw spells.
Okay, so you're thinking merchant scroll for Force of Will, play Flooded Strand, say go, huh?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I kind of like it too. Because then we do have two pieces of interaction, which
Yep.
usually an opponent can get through one piece of interaction, but that second
Yep.
one usually stops the game for a while.
Yeah.
So we'll reveal it. So we do have to reveal it, so no real secrets. So Force of Will is going into our hand.
But that could also signal that we only have the Force of Will, so he's not going to play around the Flusterstorm.
That's true. And I think that might be our only way out. And we do know one card in our opponent's hand right now. Is a Sensei's Divining Top. So
Did he have number 2?
Yeah, number 2. He activated top and played an Underground Sea and a top in the same turn. So that's something to keep a note of in this with Sensei's Divining Top. You can really pay attention, or you can really figure out some pieces of information that maybe aren't spelled out to you in Vintage.
Yep, for sure. There's all the small things that can give you the last
Wheel
possible.
of Fortune.
Huh. I mean, this could be a spot where we accept it because his 7 cards against our 7 cards, then, I mean, it's his turn, he's ahead on mana, so sure, he's favored. But I don't know if we counter this, that we're favored.
What do you like about, or what do you think about Flusterstorming this for 3, so it taps our opponent's mana, and then gaining the cards?
I think I like that thought because it's actually possible that he doesn't want to pay those 3, and then we counter the Wheel of Fortune. I think it's a great move because it's kind of a trap, and we're minimizing his chances of winning this turn. And at the worst case, it's a 1-for-1, which is also pretty good at this stage.
So you agree on the Flusterstorm?
I think it's great.
Okay.
It's a great catch. It's not normal that you play a Flusterstorm that doesn't actually counter the spell. This is kind of a bait. We're setting up a trap.
Exactly. And we kind of actually want our opponent to pay for this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we just want our opponent to be tapped down so that maybe, who knows, we could go off next turn.
Yeah. And to me, it feels like a win if it counters the wheel. Okay, great. That's great. That's just awesome play.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, now we are forced to kind of rebuild on Value Town here.
But that was our plan anyway.
Yeah, I think we start with Night's Whisper, though.
Let's go ahead and do that.
All right, draw 2 cards, lose 2. Valuable, normally not that powerful of a thing, but...
No, in Vintage it's good because it's a turn 1 play off of land plus Mox. That's why it's playable.
Okay, now I think we want to play one of our Ponder Preordain.
Yeah, so we really want to hit a fetch land. Let's see, we have 5 cards in the yard. So I think we'll go with the Ponder, because if we hit a fetch land, we can go for the Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, and we really want just... we want that extra... Ponder sees 3 cards, Preordain sees 2, and then blindly sees a 3rd. So
Ponder 4, Preordain 3.
Yeah.
This just digs a little deeper.
6. Not exactly what we wanted, but really not bad. I think there's a world where maybe we keep this, play the island, or keep the island on top, Preordain.
Yeah.
And then, we could kind of keep both of those.
But let's... Yeah, so that's the thing. Do you want to... But in that case, I think you want to hang on to the Preordain as Force of Will fodder.
Yeah, true.
If you're planning on keeping all of those.
Maybe we do just shuffle.
I mean, hitting a fetch land here is so great because we can then treasure cruise right away.
Yep.
And those are kind of mediocre. Those are, I think, just a little below average what we can expect from
I'm gonna
three
put it back
random
in
cards.
any order and shuffle.
Yeah, let's do that. Fetch.
Fetch land. Nope. So we're just
But now we have the combo. If we just get 1 mana, we can play Time Vault, we'll take key, win the game.
Exactly. With a little bit of force backup. And our opponent only has 3 cards here, so maybe we're not in as bad a shape as we thought we were at the beginning. We actually have more cards than our opponent. Gitaxian Probes is going to give him the free look here, so perfect information is something we wanted to avoid, but...
Yeah, that's just what happens, but it's very important for him because now he knows that he either has to muster some interaction or kill us on the spot.
Exactly, and we do have a great bait spell of next turn of Treasure Cruise. Obviously it's not insane to have to pay 2 for that, but we actually could preordain and then Treasure Cruise.
I mean, that mitigates the delve cost, but you also need to remember we need a spare blue card for Force of Will, basically no matter how this game plays out.
Exactly. Okay.
So I think that Lotus Petal signals that he has a Force of Will in hand and he's planning on hard casting it, because that was his second blue mana on the table.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so I kind of like not forcing out the combo pieces then yet.
Yeah.
Since we don't have the mana anyways, what do you think about just Night's Whisper?
If we Whisper, we can 1 mana Treasure Cruise after that, so that's perfect.
And we just really want to find a land off this Whisper.
Yeah. Land or Mox.
Okay, that's perfect.
That's more than we need. Okay. So now we can go for the... I think we wait on our land drop.
Okay.
I mean, we could go crazy and draw the perfect Tolarian Academy, Mox, and then...
Sure.
So let's just wait on that. Or even, I guess...
kind of a bait spell, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he can't really let that resolve.
Do we fight over this? Probably not, right?
That's also a very good question. I think I would just say sure. Okay, There goes the Flusterstorm. And then I would get the Voltaic Key onto the table.
You wouldn't think about preordain?
So it's preordain versus getting the key onto the table.
Yep.
It's tough.
It is.
I mean, the PO is very bad at this point, so that could be our new force fodder.
Yep.
And what are we looking to preordain into?
Exactly. That's my concern as well. Like we don't need any specific thing right now, so I kind of like the key.
Yeah, just kind of. Yeah, let's go for that.
Because, I mean, like, think about it. We could, like, preordain next turn and, like, find a recall or something and then, like, be hyped about that because we can play it right away. But for now, I think being as mana efficient to try to just straight win the game off Time Vault here pretty soon, I think seems great.
Yeah, he needs to do something powerful this turn, and he needs to beat a Force of Will.
Yep. And he's digging.
He's doing his best job.
Yep. And
he has the perfect information.
Because we actually know that this is a friend of yours, correct?
I met him at a few tournaments, and also his screen name is Jose Ortiz, which is a male name. So
that's fair. Ooh, Academy. Okay. Well, I think we start with a preordain.
Let's see, because we want to look for the Flusterstorm to have even more insurance against what he's going to do.
Another force is not exactly what we want, though.
No, I don't think we want any of those, because if he manages to deal with the Time Vault...
Ooh, what about that one?
That's insane.
Okay, we're going to play this.
Let's just think for a second here. Storm is 1, so if you play that one, he can Flusterstorm it. So you might want to play the Academy first so you can actually pay for the Ancestral.
Okay.
So tap Underground Sea, I think. There's some minor chance we go for Kambal this turn if things doesn't pan out perfectly.
Spells are cast, so if Flusterstorm's cast, it's unless we pay 3, which we can do. But if he Flusterstorms, maybe we just go for Time Vault.
Huh. So this is
interesting.
Let's see. He could have something like Repeal to break up our combo, so we need to do some math about whether we can play the Voltaic Key again or not.
What if we go with Mox Opal, Soul Ring, and then play Campbell and then Time Vault. Do we have enough mana for that? I think we probably do. Soul Ring is 1, Mox Opal, so we have 3, 6, so we have 7 mana available after we play Mox and Soul Ring.
But then you beat Repeal as well, so I think we just go for the Vault and try and take an extra turn and see what he has to say about that.
Don't we want to do that with the Soul Ring?
Yes, we just tap one of the duels. It doesn't matter since we have the Opal.
Yep. Play the Opal.
Yeah, and then tap Soul Ring to play Time Vault.
Time Vault.
And now he needs 2 pieces of interaction.
And we can just cast Paradoxical Outcome now, like...
He forces. I think we just force back. I mean, we win the game if his last card doesn't interact.
Okay.
And then if nothing else, I mean, if he can negate that as well, we have the Kambal. So, yeah.
Okay.
So is that another Force of Will? It's a Flusterstorm. Pay 8.
We will not pay 8.
So your line of playing Kambal first would have been better because he would have taken some more damage. But my concern was that we would get time walked by Repeal, so we wouldn't be able to, like, he would bounce the Voltaic Key in response to our Time Bolt.
Okay.
And then that way, by a turn, because I saw 2 Repeals the other game, so, yeah.
It's alright, we got a powerhouse down.
So, let's remember to untap our Mox Opal, because he just showed the Wheel of Fortune, so I guess he's playing Time Twister. So okay. Now we have mana untapped for Flusterstorm if we draw into it.
Smart.
It's super minor, but I think it's great.
Those kind of plays are very important. And our opponent may be completely out of cards, but having that Sensei's Divining Top is still a huge game right now.
Yeah, that's just super powerful in Vintage. And that mana crypt is helping our cause right now.
Yep, we won that flip.
He needs to repeal that one in order to win the game.
Yep. And to repeal that is just recasting it. You know, I mean, something like us attacking and then on our end step repealing is important, but... You know, I mean, he doesn't have many turns to find the combination of repeal into kill.
Yep.
And there's no reason to play this, right?
No. We have one as their mentor in our deck, and there's some bluffing value. So let's just hang on for now.
Our opponent's just going to be flipping coins into oblivion.
Yeah.
Well, unlucky. Won this one.
I'll take it. He missed 1 out of 2 so far. That's fine.
That's fair. And we are getting close on the clock here, so I'm going to start playing kind of fast here. So correct me if any plays look bad, but...
Yeah, I feel like that's the right way to do it.
All right, our opponent has found something. Sensei's Divining Top has been drawn.
I don't quite know why he would do that.
Me either, unless it's a repeal, but then he would still want to do that during our turn, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Nothing to do but attack and pass.
Yep. So I guess he found the repeal there. Tutor going to 5.
Interesting.
Actually going to 3 when that results. So he has 1 spell left.
And he has to win this flip.
Right. Okay. Well,
he lost. The game's over. How did we win that game?
That was insane.
Wow.
That was a great roll to 5. I also, to be fair, I don't want to, pat myself on the back, but we did everything we needed to do to get back in that game.
Yeah. And I just got a message from him. He's like, absolutely nothing for 10 cards. GG.
Yeah, I mean, he did see a lot of cards, and it was very unlikely that he wasn't able to close out the game. But that's just
you said it. I think you said it perfect, Andres. Or, I think you just said it perfect where you have to play to your outs, and like we made, like, I think the biggest decision from the beginning was to know our role, which was to play a much more conservative aspect and try to gain card advantage while not dying in the same way. Because, I mean, there were plenty of draws that we were just straight dead if we didn't leave, something open. And like you said, we could have left Flusterstorm open, and in hindsight, it would have been the better play because we could have possibly just shut down the entire game plan he had. But if he had a different draw where he just goes, Mox, land, Knight's Whisper, or whatever, like, the Flusterstorm's pretty weak, you know. I mean, so I think we made the right decision there.
Yeah, I think it started with the merchant scroll for Force of Will. That was just about enough to keep him down, and then we knew we still had the Night's Whisper, so we could just start developing ourselves. It was just perfect. It's not all the time you get paid off for your thoughts in Magic, unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, I mean, there's a reason in Magic why the best players in the world only have a 70 to 75% win rate, is because Magic's hard. There's a lot of luck, you know. I mean, if the best players in the world are leveraging that 50-50 mindset to give themselves an extra 25% or so, you know, like maybe our play that game leveraged us that extra 10% we needed, and we ended up drawing into it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right, so let's get ready for our third and final game, man. I gotta say, I've enjoyed having you with me here.
Oh yeah, me too. It's just always a treat playing Vintage. So it doesn't really matter the company, but of course, good company and Vintage. Well, I was actually about to say something nice, but
but never mind, huh?
Yeah, I was about to say that even in bad company, and I'm not talking about you, Vintage is fun. So this is perfect.
Excellent. Well, what do we think about this one?
Oh yeah,
Too much, but
it doesn't do much, but it can cast most stuff that we draw, and we have a piece of disruption. So
we're gonna keep this.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this. We're not gonna be super excited, but
yeah,
we can play most stuff from the top row deck, and we have such a high density of business cards in our deck.
Okay, so just a volcanic island and pass.
And then the upkeep ancestral, the classic.
I think we counter that.
Yeah, we counter that. So he's casting this on your upkeep to avoid going to clean up with 8 cards on his turn. So that's kind of the classic turn 1 ancestral plays.
Smart.
So I think we should go for our own ancestral now.
Oh, yes. We can go Underground Sea, Mox Pearl to cast Merchant Scroll, and then Mox Sapphire to just recall right now.
Yes, you're the man.
Oh, yes. Okay, we're going to try it. Merchant's Scroll. And just refill our hand.
Yep.
And
that's good after he just 2-for-1 does.
I mean, now a Force of Will is a little rough, but...
Yeah, the thing is, if he had a Force of Will, he would have forced through his own ancestral.
You think so?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well,
so now we can get the top down and spin it.
We mana crypt and go?
Yep.
Okay. I like it. We're really doing some stuff this game.
This is a great turn 1, obviously.
Yeah, we have 5 permanents, access to like 6 mana. Oh, and a PO on top? I think that's what we want to draw, right?
For sure.
We don't really want this land. Mana Crypt would be the next card we'd want. So we can really put ourselves to a decision when it comes to... And okay, this brings up a great thing that you mentioned with the top play, where we can activate the top and then PO... Paradoxical Outcome, and we would actually get that mana vault along with a extra card.
So depending on what he does, let's see if we want to shuffle our library first or keep those cards on top.
Exactly. And I mean, realistically, like, we are looking for a Flusterstorm or another Force of Will to force through that Paradoxical Outcome. Because that's really how we win this game. And just outcome, getting it Flusterstormed or something like that. Although that's something that can't really happen if we just untap, play a land.
The beautiful part here is, as you said, we had access to 5 mana. If we play a land, we have 6. PO is 4, and then Flusterstorm is only a Spell Pierce functionally. So if we just keep our composure, we're out of Flusterstorm range.
Out of only Flusterstorm range, but there could be Brainstorm into Flusterstorm that would get us.
Yeah, Brainstorm is a restricted card, and this is good news. I was about to say that before. If he taps out, I mean, I'm not afraid of Force of Will because he didn't have it for the Ancestral.
Okay.
So I think it could very well be that the coast is clear here. Unless he just drew into the Force of Will on the 2 cards.
Sure. So I think we just start by playing Misty Rainforest and try to Paradoxal, right?
How do you feel about Brainstorming? You know you have the Mana Bolt on top.
True. Brainstorm first?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Then we can get rid of this island.
And now we even get to see if the coast is clear. So get rid of the 2 non-fetches.
Yep. And we're going to start with the Gataxian Probe.
Let's fetch first. We don't want to draw into a blank land.
Oh, good call, good call. Okay, we probably want to get just a underground sea, huh?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
That's
and then
fine.
we're gonna probe.
Yeah.
See if the coast is clear. And the
The
coast is clear.
coast is clear, so
Okay. So now we are. Oh my.
insane draw. That's
Oh
just
my.
a freebie. Remember to activate the top, then hold priority.
Okay.
Well, hold priority first, and then PO.
Okay. So we're gonna go like this. We're gonna add a bunch of mana. We're gonna activate top, and with that ability on the stack, we're gonna PO all of these.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, indeed. You said it right.
That's a lot of resources. So
yeah.
we should just try and draw some cards, I guess.
Just ponder, or
We already played a land, didn't we? I would Nice Whisper first, so just get the. Yeah, that's fine. I guess you want to tap an. Yeah, you have floating, so sure. All good.
Okay. Yep, we're gonna play
Yeah,
this.
but here we go again.
I'm gonna just play everything.
That paradoxical outcome should prompt a concession, I would say.
He just put in the chat, oh, come on.
Yeah, most vintage players just can, value even losing to broken stuff because that's kind of what the format is about.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you'll just run into that.
Okay, so we're going to do the same thing.
Yeah, draw and then respond. And our way to win this game is Monastery Mentor and Kambal. We don't have the Colossus, so we might have to go through some stuff. Now we can set up the infinite combo. Drew the Time Bolt, and you have the Demonic Tutor.
Okay, so just replay stuff?
Yeah, replay artifacts. Let's keep the mana crypt for now.
Or wait, we can just tutor for a mentor. That's probably a faster line. What do you think about that?
That's fine because you have the Time Walk, so you can go kind of nuts.
Yep. Okay, so we're
and just win on the spot.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna Mox Opal here to get black mana.
Yep.
We're gonna tutor, just because our clock's getting low.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
So where's that mentor?
Right Monastery there. Mentor.
All right, we're gonna play that right away.
Oh, baby, this is good.
This is good. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna just go. All right, I'm gonna do a little less talking here just to make sure we don't.
Yeah, just play out the artifacts that don't have any triggers on them. So no crypt, no vault is my suggestion.
Okay, we're gonna play this. Take the extra turn.
So top and we did play a land. So this is a pretty good turn two, wouldn't you say?
A decent turn two, yeah. Now is that about all we can play? It looks like the concession is I'm lagging out or he has conceded.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
We did it.
That was just an awesome ride. Just an awesome ride from start to finish.
That was unbelievable. Like, honestly, I think this was by far the best match we played. We really saw what this deck can do from every angle. We had, game one it was close, but we had game one we lost, but it was really close, but he had the better draw.
Game two was absurdly just such a nice experience. Mulliganing to 5
on the play with a very mediocre hand and taking a much more conservative line because we knew we weren't going to be that player that was going to have that explosive draw like our opponent was, who went like Black Lotus into Ancestral Recall, bunch of artifacts. We recognized what role we had to play in that, and then when it came to this game, we just we had a couple of very fortunate draws, but I mean this
game three was a slaughter. We got to deal with his Ancestral, we got to resolve our own Ancestral, and then we just won on turn two. That's just absurdly powerful.
Like, is turn two the fastest we can do with this deck?
I mean, I've drawn my whole deck on turn one. It's possible, but it's like a few months ago. It doesn't happen every day. I mean, this is well above average.
I can tell. Well, I would like to talk about this deck more with you, but I don't want to spoil it in this chat. I hope you all stick around to have a little chat with me and Andreas in the deck tech here, so stick around for that.
Oh yeah.
All right, and welcome to the deck tech here. Andreas, that was a match.
Oh yeah, that was just a perfect way to end a very, very fun night for me of games.
Yeah.
We went from the absolute low of mulliganing to 5 to just the perfect ending with the trophy. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that brings me to like my number one question when it comes to this is like this deck, especially during that match, we got to see basically every iteration that this deck could possibly do. Like we had to play it slow one game. We had to just go off one game, but maybe it wasn't enough in game 1. But then game 3, we had it all. We smash it. Like our opponent didn't have disruption. So maybe we could look at some scenario where that shouldn't have been a keep or something like that. But for the most part, this deck got to play on a bunch of different accesses. And in my opinion, the most powerful strategy in Magic is a combo deck that can turn control. And I feel like this is built in to do all of that right away. So, like, what made you want to play this combination of cards and maybe not Grixis like we saw? Like, what made you choose this deck?
Yeah, so when Paradoxical Outcome got spoiled, it was kind of obvious that it would do some good stuff in Vintage.
Yeah.
And there were just some different versions. But now the consensus version is this one, and it's all because of Knight's Whisper, it's not super logic that this card that has never been good enough for anything, basically, is just a powerhouse in Vintage. But the fact that you're able to play it off of an Underground Sea and any Mox, so it's a turn 1 play a lot of the time in Vintage, that's just so powerful because in a deck like this, you want a critical mass of cheap artifacts and business spells like Paradoxical Outcome. Knight's Whisper just helps you get your engine going. So that was a big innovation that I guess it's almost a year ago that I found that card and just thought that was the key to, break out of the stale versions that the metagame had already figured out. So that was a big innovation for me.
Sure. So why? So I mean, like we saw in our last 2 rounds that it was both comboed around blue-black, but some of them chose red.
Oh yeah, about the color combinations.
We could play Knight's Whisper in their version. Why add the white?
Right. To be honest, Monastery Mentor is a army in a can. It's just such a good win condition. It rewards you for playing Magic. That's not a lot of hard work. So that card is very good, but also the Kambals from the sideboard, as we saw in round number 2, it's just in a pseudo mirror match, you have so few answers for it, it'll just run away with the game because
in round 3, I mean, it won us that game 2 when we moved.
Right. He was also just trying to churn through, trying to deal with it and kill us. But yeah, Kambal just punishes you for even playing a Preordain or a Mox. Yeah. And Vintage decks run so few lands that you can't really build your own mana base without having to pain yourself through the Kambal. So Kambal is super strong, as is Monastery Mentor.
And yeah, I think you said it best. And I think one thing maybe you didn't touch on is when people are sideboarding for these mirror matches, they're bringing in cards like Flusterstorm. They're bringing in that red Pyroblast. They're bringing in these blasts, cards that Campbell just completely dodges. So, I mean, sure, you're always going to have Force of Wills, but, that is a card you and yourself can play around when you're sneaking out this threat that forces them to act first, basically.
Yeah, it's a pretty huge deal in Vintage. That's also why you see 2 Karn, Scion of Ursa in the sideboard. Yeah. It's you dodge a lot of the usual disruption spells like Flusterstorm and Pyroblast specifically. So yeah, that's a big deal in Vintage because if Kambal was blue, it would have been way worse. If Karn was blue, it would have been way worse. So it's not very logical unless you're very deep into the format. I've been studying this format for 15 years, so. For me, it's kind of logical that it's a disadvantage being blue, where you might think, hey, then you can always pitch it to a Force of Will if times get rough. But it's actually a downside in Vintage.
And when you're saying a downside, you're saying it because it can be Pyroblasted, right?
Yes.
Yes. That's the big downside of it.
Yeah, okay. Pyroblast, for 1 mana you can deal with and trade up mana a lot, like if Kambal was blue or Karn. So, dodging Pyroblast is huge.
Yep, and I think trading up is a big thing in Magic, and especially in Vintage,
Yeah.
So when it comes to like the specific reasons to play the list, let's get to the actual reasons, or let's get to the actual cards of the list. So
Yeah.
we start with the mana base. 13
The mana
lands?
base.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
13?
Moxen, for everyone who's played like Holiday Cube on Magic Online, they know Moxen is like lands.
Yep.
And in this deck, you have a lot of cantrips. So it's basically like the modern Death Shadow deck. You want to play with as few mana sources as possible because then you will gain virtual card advantage over the course of a game. And Vintage is kind of the same that way. Playing so many lands, of course, it's the Moxen, the artifacts that let you get away with that. But if I go to the land specifically, we have a mixture of blue fetches. It makes sense. You don't want to get Piping Needle out of the game.
Smart.
You have the lone basic island. It can always come in handy. There will be a turn where you can't afford to get wastelanded, so that's there for that purpose. Library of Alexandria can win a game just on its own if it's unchecked or the opponent also has a controlling hand.
And then we had did happen to us once, right? Like Library just took over at least one game when we were on the draw, you know?
Yeah. And that's specifically powerful because being on the draw, you go up to 8 from your draw step. Then you can play the library and start going from there already. And then we have the duels, 3 Underground Seas because casting the Night's Whisper and getting wastelanded is a normal play pattern, so you want more up your sleeve. But the Tundra, you basically only fetch it when the coast is clear and you know your opponent's not hasn't got any wastelands, or you have the Mentor right away.
Exactly.
So that's why I played a 3-1 split. Back in the days where Mentor was unrestricted, I played a 2-2 split for, logical reasons.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, it's just the one land you search up when you know this is your plan. Otherwise, it's always go for Underground Sea up against almost any deck except like a Shops deck. Then we kind of go for the basic island in preparation for that.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, let's move on to this utility slot. So like this, what we have a Black Lotus, Mana Crypt, 2 Restrict and Soul Ring, Mana Vault, and Time Vault, which are all restricted, along with all the Mox Emerald, Jet, Pearl, Ruby, Sapphire. You're just, they're essentially, obviously, like the blue Mox is better. You know, that's the best, but we're settling with having all of them because... You know, I mean, just being able to play those out, tap them, paradoxical outcome where you're losing no value, and in some cases that we played, you're just gaining mana off this card.
Yeah.
It's drawing you 5 cards.
Yeah, that shouldn't really be possible in netting mana in that exchange. But yeah, you play all the Moxen, and then thanks to Mox Opal, you have, I think, it's around the... threshold for how many artifacts you need for Mox Opal, but I think we have just about enough. And I like running 3. I mean, it's legendary, and I want to draw 1 every game, but drawing 2 can be kind of iffy. 3 is just the perfect number to take advantage of going broken with your mana base without having too many in your hand. So
Nope. I like 3 there too as well because we had situations where they were in our hand and they're insane in your best draws, but when you kind of don't have that critical mass of artifacts, it gets much worse.
For sure.
Okay, and then on top of that, we have like the 2 Voltaic Keys, 2 Sensei's Divining Top, Voltaic Key, of course, comboing with Time Vault to take those infinite turns. Just another way to basically end the game without actually ending the game. You know, online
sure.
it still becomes a struggle having to click through, as we saw a couple of times.
For sure. And also I want to talk a little about Voltaic Key. Aside from it being a combo piece with Time Vault, it's also a draw engine with Sensei's Divining Top. You tap your Sensei's Divining Top to draw a card, then you can untap it in response and draw another one. So you get to net 1 card each turn by having those 2 on the battlefield at the same time. And also it's just a cheap artifact for a Paradoxical Outcome, and as is Time Vault. So it's never. Also, it turns out on Metalcraft. So just a lot of small stuff.
It's never bad. The second one is always bad, though.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have 2 and a Sensei's Divining Top, and you're just drawing 3 cards a turn.
Yeah,
or you have a Sol Ring, and you generate 1 mana for each time you untap it. So it just has some small utility here and there, which it will just add up, and it's just a useful card most of the time.
And before we get to all our next column here, which is more of our card advantage spells, I think you said it very well when it came to the Sensei's Divining trick, or Sensei's Divining Top trick with Voltaic Key. But, I mean, you taught me one trick with Sensei's Divining Top and Paradoxical Outcome. You want to tell us about that? Because I love that trick.
Yeah, so
which
when
I
you...
had no idea of until I started playing today.
It's not really intuitive at all, but when you feel like the coast is clear, a play you can go for is, again, tap your Sensei's Divining Top to draw a card, keep priority, and then bounce it with Paradoxical Outcome. So you get to draw a card from the Paradoxical Outcome, plus from the activation of Sensei's Divining Top. So a PO for, if you only have 4 artifacts on the battlefield and one of them is a top, it will actually draw you 5 cards. So that's just a neat little trick to maximize your chances of ending the game, which is the objective whenever you're casting Paradoxical Outcome.
And I think every time we did have that interaction came up, we did win the game.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But also you need to kind of feel like the coast is clear in that spot, because if you get met by a Force of Will, then you'll have to spend mana casting that top again next turn. So it can be kind of dangerous, but it's just something to keep in mind, that you can maximize the value that way.
Okay, moving right along here, we're going to move into this next column, which is our card advantage spells. Here we have, another good chunk of restricted cards in the form of Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise, obviously the most powerful card of Ancestral Recall. Like, you taught me the importance of that. Like, whenever that was cast from our opponent, we have a force, we force it. I mean, anytime we can get it through, we get it through. That really seems like one of the most important cards in a lot of situations.
It sure is, but I got to tell you, from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when I played a lot of Vintage, all the games revolved around Ancestral Recall, because Merchant Scroll was unrestricted, and there was no mental misstep. So it would be a lot about resolving Ancestral Recall, but those days are gone, because these days your opponent can just have a mental misstep. And sure, you'll try and fight it with a Force of Will if you have it, but it's just not the same. So it doesn't resolve as often anymore.
Right. That card is just, it does too many busted things. I mean, even our last game here, us resolving that was probably the difference of us winning that game.
Sure. We negated him of resolving Ancestral Recall, and then we resolved our own. So, that was just perfect. We knew
it was on top, too. We may have not have scryed or anything, but we just knew.
We knew the Merchant Scroll was coming.
Yeah, if I was with the Vintage Master here, I knew I had to have some vintage luck and a lot of skill being brought along with it.
For sure, and that paid off.
So besides all the card draws, we obviously have Paradoxical Outcome, which you saw. We're going to move on now. We have the next column, which is really our Disruption column.
That's our interactive cards.
Yeah. These are the ways we stop them from killing us. Well, we have the time to kill them. And you don't need much, I mean, Hercule's Recall, I noticed, was one of the best cards at dealing with shops, which seems like a very popular deck.
It sure is, and the Hercule's Recall is the way to beat them. Either you go fast and beat them before they get their locks down, or you try and sculpt your hand and bounce their stuff before you die, and then you can go to town.
Yeah, or Hercule's Recall, it got used as basically a negate for our Paradoxical Outcome match.
That was great utility shown by the Hercule's Recall, because you can also do some stuff like where you have a Monastery Mentor and you bounce your own stuff to get a lot of monks. Mm-hmm. You can deal with an opposing Blightsteel Colossus. You can do a lot of stuff with Hercule's Recall. And then, of course, it also pitches to Force of Will, which is just great when you have a utility card.
Exactly. And you can recall yourself to net mana. Let's say we just have a bunch of artifacts and we needed just even had Blightsteel Colossus to net the mana. We pay 2 for that, get stuff back that produces 6 or 7 mana, play that Blightsteel Colossus. I mean,
so it's a good combination of.
Than it looks.
Yeah, for sure. Just by talking about it now, it's just mind blowing how much stuff it does for so little.
It makes sense why you have the respect to put a copy, or a total of 4 copies in your total 75.
Yeah, I've always played that setup to beat workshop-based strategies, but it's pretty new for me to play 2 in the main deck. I usually go with 1, but it just has so much utility right now. So
okay. And then we get to that last column, which is our kills here. Mentor, the Colossus, Tinker, and then obviously the infinite turns to help us find these few cards. You don't need a lot of kills when it comes to Vintage, because you're going to draw your deck. You're going to get there,
Right. You don't want to... I mean, win conditions in your opening hand, unless it's Monastery Mentor, they're just not very good. For instance, if I were to play a card like Tendrils of Agony, that doesn't help me win the game. So that can just be a pretty hard card to have in your opening hand, and then have one less card to fight your opponent, one less card to try and go broken. So you want your win conditions to be as clean as possible, and the one Blightsteel Colossus is all I can afford, in my opinion.
And I mean, I think we noticed a lot from the pseudo mirror matches that we played. Our opponent had those kind of weird, awkward cards like Wheel of Fortune, like even maybe Dark or Dak Fabian, or some of these cards that weren't combo pieces, and maybe we comboed off more consistently some of the times because our deck was as streamlined as possible.
That's another thing. I don't really like draw sevens in Vintage anymore, because the risk of passing the turn after a draw seven usually means you lose in powerful combo matchups. Yeah. So I don't really like draw sevens. I haven't played them for several years for that reason. It just puts so much pressure on you. You have to win that turn, or you probably lose.
Exactly. And I mean, our opponent casted twice in our set, and we won both games.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. It could easily have went the other way, but that's just exactly. That's exactly what I'm worried about.
Yeah, but that's a card putting a lot of faith in the top of your deck, instead of this deck putting a lot of faith in your play skill, and basically that.
Yeah, for sure. This is more conservative in a way. We play Nice Whisper, they play draw sevens, so it's just a matter of how much of a gambler you are, I guess.
Exactly. Okay, we'll move on to the sideboard here. We'll start off. We got one Flusterstorm here, another card basically for the blue matchups here. Yep. Not ideal up against shops. We got two Hercules Recalls, which is a great card for shops. Is there any other matchups where it's really good against?
I will board it in against decks, like I played against Merfolk and I played against humans during the last 2 weeks, and they have Nullrod in their sideboard alongside. Did they
accidentally join the wrong queue and they were supposed to be in the modern queue, or?
This Saturday, Merfolk won the Vintage Challenge. So
okay, I'll eat my words.
Yeah, so I didn't expect that for sure. Fair. But they will have a Nullrod. I also think they have the one Chalice of the Void, which is allowed. It's restricted, and the one Thorn of Amethyst. So I'll board it in. It's not great, but I'll board it in against those matchups where I know they have some disruptive artifacts.
Okay, sure. Moving on, Karn is one card that we did not get to play. I'm assuming that this is for much more grindy matchups, maybe like if there is some kind of control shell, a Grixis control or something like that. Is that a right assumption?
Karn is what you want against the fair blue decks, which are at the moment various Leovold-based Sultai decks and Jeskai decks, basically just good blue cards, good red cards, and Monastery Mentor, so it's not really Jeskai. It's just blue-red splashing Mentor. But those fair matchups, they have a tough time dealing with the repeated engine of Karn drawing me cards for the reasons we talked about Flusterstorm and Pyroblast.
Yep.
Yeah. So Karn is what you want there. Draw some cards or make some threats depending on the board state. That's very good.
So Karn is for the decks that are blue and fell asleep during the entire Kaladesh rotation and didn't realize Paradoxical Outcome was made.
So, I'm actually playing it to be to kind of counter the fair blue matchups, which are a very good counter to this deck, because they can play all the cheap counter magic. They have Stony Silence. And then they can usually contain my version of the deck. But that's where the package of Night's Whisper plus Karn comes into play, so I can kind of attack on a different axis than resolve a big spell and hope I win. Because they're very good at shutting down my artifacts and very good at just saying no to my Paradoxical Outcome.
Okay, fair. Moving on here, I see 2 Graph Digger's Cage and 4 Tormod's Crypts. These are another set of cards that we didn't really get to play, but I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say they're for Dredge.
Yes, they're for Dredge, and the nice thing about this deck is that it can also race Dredge. So you can either outpower them and race them. I mean, you saw a turn 2 kill from our deck in the last round here. You can do that against Dredge, or you can just draw some hate pieces and disrupt them from winning. And the nice thing about these artifact hate pieces is that you can bounce them with Paradoxical Outcome and still do some proactive stuff with them. So you can do some pretty busted stuff. Shut them down and then draw 4 cards and drop the hate again. It's just so demoralizing for them to play against.
It's kind of like a full take key in that matchup where it has utility but can still be used for Paradoxical Outcome, except this one's free.
Yeah, it's pretty perfect. You boosting your Talaran Academy. powering out Metalcraft, drawing extra cards. It's pretty awesome. I mean, other decks play Leyline of the Void, which, of course, is a better hate card in in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But in this setting where you have Paradoxical Outcome and Mox Opal, these are just better.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope, I agree with you. And then we got the 2 islands. I saw those 4. We're bringing those in against shops when there's a lot of wastelands. And then we got the MVP here,
Yeah.
Campbell.
He's just great against like these pseudo mirror matches. I also bring him in against other fair blue decks because they also rely on cantrips and restricted cards to churn through their deck.
And probably
I don't think
a lot of removal.
yeah, the few lightning bolts they have, they're not gonna have them in their deck post sideboard most of the time. So Campbell is it's just an awesome card in Vintage.
But you best believe when you hit him with Campbell's chicken noodle soup, they're bringing those lightning bolts right back in.
Yeah, and sometimes if I have the right sideboard configuration for it, I'm able to bring them out for game 3 and then leave them with very subpar cards like Swords to Plowshares or Lightning Bolt that will not really help them beat me on the card advantage axis. So yeah, you can do some mind games there.
I love it. Well, I think we pretty much covered it. Andreas, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and teaching me such a fun format. I had a blast doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, stop by for any more Droppin Baums you want to.
I'll let you know in the future, and also I'll see you in the challenges in the near future, hopefully.
Oh yeah, after you train me in, I'm gonna be knocking you out of a winning in here next.
Yeah, that's too bad, but it's worth it.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you all for stopping by, and we'll see you next week here for Droppin Baums. See ya.